You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Well, there you go, Trevis Gipson. I was going to say good to know you, but I didn't even know if I knew you. Kind of liked the idea of Trevis Gipson, back with Bill Shuey, who he had a relationship with, and kind of felt like he might be able to provide a little bit of a spark or just get you a few sacks. So that's all you're looking for from these kind of guys, a few sacks. Not talking 6, 7, 8, but just to fill and get more than 40 that the Jags had last year and 27.5 by two guys. And Jags said, hey, we got some young guys, or we've got some plans. I don't know which one it is. I think it's probably the young guys. And they traded him away to the Seattle Seahawks this morning. Just part of cuts, and that's that's part of the game. Think they got a 6th-round pick back?
Who cares? Brent, let me ask. I mean, obviously, big news to start off our show with. And I've been a big proponent of Trevis Gipson. He was my super sleeper. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm going to become a Seahawks. Oh, no, don't get it twisted. He's still my super sleeper. Okay. Don't be surprised if he's got 15 sacks in Seattle now. I'm going to be the biggest Seahawks fan ever. Like, you want to call them the 12th man? I'm the 13th man, if you will. Will you be surprised if you don't see another plan in place? Like, will you be surprised if they just keep what they have on the roster and there's not a plan to replace Trevis Gipson? Because I think a lot of Jaguars fans would agree with me here. I thought the guy had a pretty damn good preseason.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good too. Again, for what he's supposed to be. He's their 4th guy, right? And again, when they say 4th guy, a lot of people say he's the 3rd guy. He's not. They don't look at him as the 3rd guy. They looked at him as the 4th guy because Eric Armstead is their 3rd guy. And in a pass rush situation. I'm just telling you that's how they label it. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's not you, Austen, meaning you, everybody out there. Yeah. That's the way they will say it. That, hey, our top 3 guys are Josh, Trayvon, and Eric. Mm-hmm. And so this was like a 4th, 5th pass rusher battle. Now, this says, do they have a plan? Well, damn it, I hope they've got a plan. I don't know if their plan necessarily constitutes bringing in a veteran guy. We just threw the name out like Jan, I think, is still out there, isn't he? I don't know who. I got to look at the list of guys that are still out there. But to me, Jan doesn't fit what they're trying to do. I don't think they're going to bring a guy like Jan in, unless Jan already signed with Chicago or something like that for a year. I don't know. But could they add a guy still that might be out there? I guess. I think this is what is said in the chat there. This is young guy. DJ Coleman was a guy that caught my attention. Miles Cole's a player they drafted. They are obviously going to go with them in the development mode at the time being. I also think this says one more thing. And I wonder if it says this to you. Devin Lloyd is part of their rush package.
Well, I'm not going to talk about Devin Lloyd or Brenton Strange because we had the agreement where you think I don't like them. So I'm not going to talk about anything with Devin Lloyd or Brenton Strange until further notice. Not going to talk about the reps of Brenton Strange during the game, and maybe somebody had more reps than him. Not going to talk about what I saw from Devin Lloyd. Those 2 guys this week are off the docket. But I think if you here's my issue with it, Brent. To me, Trevis Gipson was your 3rd best pass rusher on this team. Like, I understand Eric Armstead's out. What does Eric Armstead look like from rushing from the edge? Because I've predominantly seen him rush from the inside. Yeah. So, in my opinion, Eric Armstead's an interior pass rusher until proven wrong. So, I wonder if there's a plan in play. We talked about it last week a little bit, and, our surprise cuts. And now, I think, obviously, my surprise cut's not going to come true because I think Yasir Abdullah is going to be on the team.
Well, that's another one. I didn't mention Abdullah's name, my bad, but he should be in the mix of those young guys that I mentioned.
But he'll be in the mix, but I thought it spoke volumes in the fact that, for this game, they put him at strong side linebacker. That they moved him from the line to linebacker, proving okay, maybe they're looking for a bigger defensive end. Maybe this is why Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen have added weight, because they're trying to get a big defensive end in this defense as opposed to maybe more of a tweener, kind of like Trevis Gipson was, and obviously like Yasir Abdullah was. So I wonder if the plan is hey, Gipson, you did a lot of great things. Maybe you're a little undersized for what we want to do. Let's look at free agency or the waiver wire and maybe try to get a bigger edge guy to replace Gipson.
Yeah, I think they do have a body type they're looking for, and I don't know if people are going to love this, but they seemingly are kind of going the Gus Bradley route where they would body type would fit what they were looking for. Go back to those Leo days and everything else where a guy like Jan fit. That's why I don't think Jan really fits in this system here, what you're saying. And apparently a week ago, Jan was still a free agent. Charles Harris, Tyus Bowser, Marquise Haynes, who actually is out of University of Christian, Shaq Lawson. Didn't Shaq Lawson get picked up by somebody in the last week? I think he did. There's Randy Gregory's out there. They didn't bring Randy Gregory in here. No way. I just don't see it. So it doesn't fit. I think they're going young. This is like and the reason I think it's a little bit. I think the risk right now in Jacksonville is they're almost too pot committed to development, and we'll find out. But they are very committed to development, and they are right now.
Didn't think you'd be saying that in the offseason.
What's that?
Didn't think you'd be saying that before last season.
Yeah, well, you didn't, but they came out of last season. They said we got to develop our guys. We have got to play our guys. They are looking at models of kind of the Rams, right? That had to reset their lineup and they played a lot of young guys. Seattle has done this over the years. That's how you got to know the Browners of the world and even. Name the whole secondary. They were all late guys. They weren't big picks. Mm-hmm. They played them. They found them. Chris Richard found them. Chris Richard is here in Jacksonville. He helped develop guys like that. So, and I'll give you the Kansas City Chiefs as well. I think the Chiefs did the same thing. Even in their run, they were going to get secondary guys, and they were young guys, and they played them. I think the Jags are caught up in that right now, and I'm not telling you it's a bad thing. It looks like it might be promising when you get to guys like Parker Washington and others. But I think they're so committed to it that we wonder if in a couple months we'll be like, wait a minute, why'd you trade Trevis Gipson away? This could be one where you say, wait a minute, right?
I don't like it. Once again, I'm not gonna really. It's hard to speak on this move until we see the final plan here. Yeah. If they replace him with somebody else, if they trade for somebody else, if somebody's on the waiver wire, all right, then more power to you. But I'm just saying where the roster stands right now, and if they don't have a plan to replace him, then I really don't like the move because I think he was a pretty damn good edge rusher, and you can never have too many of them. And if we learned some things from the preseason game, we've learned that they're going to be rotating guys a lot, especially on defense.
They are.
And it almost reminds me look at what Doug Peterson had with Jim Schwartz back in 2017. It almost speaks volumes that and granted, the defense is going to be different than what Doug Peterson had in 17 when he won a Super Bowl. But when he had Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator, that's all they did. They rotated guys. I played in Jim Schwartz's defense. I know all about it. It seems like he's trying to get a resurgence of that again. I think it spoke volumes against the Falcons, and I get it's still the preseason, but they always say, especially with the Jaguars side, that game was the closest you're going to see to the real defense, what it's going to look like.
Agreed.
And we saw Roy Robertson Harris, and I think it was Mason Smith, get the start at interior. And now, granted, Eric Armstead will fit in that role as well for somebody. But I thought it spoke volumes of, okay, you're going to go with Roy Robertson Harris and Mason Smith to essentially stop the run. And then you got Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen. And then those guys were quickly rotated in. So you're going to see a lot of guys on this defensive line go in and out. And I get all of that. But when it comes to rushing the passer, because it's still going to be a pass-first league, I hope you have the horses up front to get after the quarterback off the edge.
Yeah, and listen, I'll say this. I don't want to go – I'm not going to get over dramatic about Trevis Gipson. I think he had 11 career sacks. I thought he was good too. I liked the piece. I like the veteran nature of him. It's a balance. Where do you hand off to that young guy? How do you keep the young guys? Did they feel like they weren't going to be able to stash some of these guys on the practice squad? They're invested in them, so a little bit of that is long-term availability, and they want to keep these guys in their program. I'll tell you this. I thought DJ Coleman was a good player. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks. Number 54 has impressed me in the preseason. He has caught my attention in practice when I've been over there. I haven't been as many practices as I usually go to, at least the length of them. But in the games, too, I don't know what that translates to in terms of being the fourth guy. I think this does speak a little bit to maybe even a Lloyd pass rushing a little bit. I do think Cole has some gifts that they like. He's a 7th-round guy. Did they think other people might scoop him up if they put him through the waiver wire and tried to get him on the practice squad? They don't want to lose a draft pick in that respect. So And then you mentioned Abdullah, who can move around. I do feel like he's going to be more Sam as well than he is the edge. It feels like they're moving him because, again, the body type. We did this last week, right? 240 pounds. He's not going to probably be their edge guy the way they see the edge guy. So I think my guess from a business standpoint is, all right, gather a pick because it was marginal between these guys and Trevis Gipson, the way they looked at it. I'm not telling you they're right? I'm just saying the way they looked at it was marginal. But what I do wonder, and I caution a little bit, are they going too heavy on the development side where that can almost skew their thinking, their perception? Can you kind of put it in this bucket a little bit too much? Let's hope it was just marginal. And maybe Gipson at the moment is a little bit better, but by week 15, they feel like some of these young guys will be just as good. Let's hope they're right on that and then get carried away with the development part. That's my little red flag on this one. Did not see this one coming for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And one of the things here is if you go back to the offseason and what the Jaguars did, a lot of people say, let's say in the draft, right, they wanted cornerback and go get cornerback. Jaguars are light on cornerback. Well, I think that's calmed down a little bit. They did go get Jarian Jones in the third round. They bring in Savage. They look like they've got a lot of bodies back there. They got Darby as well, who's played pretty well, at least from what we can see. So I think people are cooled off on that one. The one thing we came out of the draft and free agency and did say, do they have enough at pass rush? Mm-hmm. Do they have enough depth at pass rush? I can sit here and tell you right now, less than 2 weeks to the opener, I'm not sure they've answered that question. Like I don't think they've answered that question with any kind of certainty. Mm-hmm. I can be sunshine and rainbows all you want, but I can't tell you that these guys are good after Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. And I'm also a guy that is a big fan of their defensive front potential. But that includes all the guys. Like Roy Robertson-Harris has to chip in with some sacks. Devon Hamilton, maybe. Eric Armstead, of course. Mason Smith, can he then come on a little bit? He showed a little flash the other night. You kind of whiffed on the sack, but still, that's a good sign, right? So I'm a fan of their defensive front and what it can be, but I think if I'm calling a spade right now, I sit here and say, okay, they haven't really done a whole heck of a lot to increase their depth.
Yeah, I mean, you're a fan of what it could be, and maybe you're a fan of some of these young guys that you're going to develop, but nothing's for sure yet. And if that's the case, then I'm taking more of a sure thing, I think, with Trevis Gipson, who has some experience, who has shown that he can get after the quarterback, who, once again, by all indications, watching the preseason, it looked like he knew what he was doing. We'll see. I still trust Nielsen here because this has, like, I don't think Balky just said, oh, I can get a 6th-round pick. You know how I like that? Or whatever, a late-round pick. Probably a 6th-round pick because it's the Jacksonville Jaguars after all. So I don't think Balky just goes, oh, a 6th-round pick? Say no more, fam. Let's go. Like, I'm sure there was consultation in terms of, you know, Brian Nielsen being okay with this move. I would hope, or else what the heck are we doing here? You mentioned number 33. I'm not going to say his name because, you know, I don't like him currently. But
it's gotta be a thing.
It's gonna be a thing. I mean, you should have said what you said last week. But you mentioned number 33 of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That he's a linebacker out of Utah. And you mentioned him, and we've all said, like, he's been great, you know, in college, getting after the passer. If they do move him to that spot now, had they almost done him a disservice though by having him play middle linebacker the entire preseason, and now it's like, oh, by the way, we let go of Trevis Gipson. We heard you like to rush the quarterback. How about you play the edge now and give that a try?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to directly put him on the edge. I think this is going to be more disguised stuff of standing up and going, you know, approaching the line of scrimmage, and depending on they look at this as just these different pieces that can play multiple spots. I think if you ask Nielsen to describe where Lloyd's playing, I think he'll say him and Foye can play the same positions.
Okay.
That's what I think he'll say. Like, I don't think he'll answer straight up. Mm-hmm. Like we kind of did. Like in a production meeting, he didn't answer straight up. I think that's part of the reason their depth chart is the way it is. And like we'll see. We'll see where it is. But I don't know that either. I think everybody just assumed for the last 2 years that Lloyd would rush a little bit more because he did that at school. He didn't do it last year. He told me, I remember in April, in an interview, sit down with Lloyd. He's like, yeah, I'm going to, he said it. He's like, I'm going to do more. This was 2 Aprils ago. Mm-hmm. And then Caldwell said, like, the first day of camp, he's like, no, he's just playing linebacker. And he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I think all this offseason, we've kind of under the thought process, okay, we're going to see Lloyd do a little bit more of what he did in college. Less cover, more rush, more around the ball, line of scrimmage stuff. That's why he gained the weight, all that stuff. So we'll see. We haven't seen that card played by Nielsen yet. But I do think he has been as coy as I've seen a coordinator be going into a regular season yet. Like, I don't remember. I know there are secrets. I get it. But I don't remember one as coy as this. So we'll see what they end up doing with it, how much it matters. Obviously, health will play a big factor here. If the Jags don't have to get to their fourth or fifth pass rusher, that's okay, right? It's a moot point.
No, then we're not. Yeah, I mean, that's ideally the goal, right? Knock on wood. Hopefully, no injuries happen. Hopefully, we're not talking about if they bring somebody else in. We're not talking about this guy playing, getting rotation because hey, everyone's staying healthy. Like, you're blessed to have two bona fide edge rushers. Now, whether you move those guys down in pass rush situations, you know how I feel about that. But you have some great edge rushers at your disposal. Now it's just shoring up the depth, and time will tell what that depth is going to look like.
Hey, this is what's noticeable to me a little bit. Just reading through, this is just a Twitter unofficial thing, quick look by me out of this move. There's a lot of trust right now, it looks like, in Balky. At least even from the fan base on this one. Now, maybe I'm not seeing everything, but here's my first three responses I got when pushed this out about Trevis Gipson.
Here comes the Venmo.
People complained about Zay, too, probably more to the story. I don't understand how Zay was taking strays here. But
well,
anyway,
you know what they're saying. Okay.
They must be picking someone else up to play backup edge role.
Yeah.
What if they have something better for us? He's shown nothing so far. Like, these are all like in favor. Like, I thought I'd be like, oh, here goes Balky again, 6th round pick. That's the first thing we said.
Yeah.
But it's not really. There's a little bit of trust right now in the front office.
Brent, it's Twitter though. Like, I'm sure there's a subsection that doesn't like this move whatsoever.
I get it.
Yeah.
There probably is. I just haven't seen those yet.
I got you. Go. I mean, have the Jaguars announced it yet?
I don't know that. That's a good question.
Go and check those comments out and get back to me.
I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I don't think they have yet. They usually do it like 3 days later.
Yeah. Maybe they're waiting to release those teal helmets and then do it so the fan base doesn't get too upset.
Though I feel frustrated with Gipson trade, we don't fully understand what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah, I mean, you never know that. That is true, but I don't think we can. I'm not going to sit here and assume like something's going on behind the scenes. I'm going to sit here and assume that they think they've got players that can be just as good, if not better, than Trevis Gipson's going to give them production-wise, or it's very marginal. And so forth. Because it's marginal, they're going to lean younger guy. But that's the only thing I can make out of it.
Okay, but I don't like that answer. I'm going to be honest. I don't like the answer because if it's marginal, then I'm going to lead with experience.
Yeah.
If it's marginal, then I'm going to lead with the guy who's done it a little longer, who can give you some good play in some tough situations. I'm with all due respect, I'm not going to bank on a younger, later round draft pick. I'm simply not, especially at such an important position. So once again, I hope there's a plan in place. If there's not a plan in place and they don't replace Gipson and what you have is what you have on this team, I'm going to go a little okay because. I mean, maybe money, but come on, let's be honest. Look at how much money you spent this year. You think Shad Khan's worried about paying Trevis Gipson?
No.
And
I don't even know what he paid.
And listen, and I understand it's Trent Baalke, so we're playing all the greatest hits, another 6th round pick, put it on the record. I don't care about that either. Or a 5th round pick, whatever it's going to be. Like I don't
care about the pick.
It does nothing for me.
I'm so over draft picks.
I'm so over late round draft picks.
I got a comment for you.
What do you got? You got a bad one?
Yeah, this guy says, we cut Breland Speaks and traded Trevis Gipson within 24 hours. If I don't see a big profile acquisition by Tuesday, then I'm really about to air out my grievances.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's a good read by you, Heavy. I like that.
It's,
that sounds like an email I would have got during the broadcast on Friday night.
This should just be the whole show. Let's just go through Jaguars Twitter and read all the tweets. I love it.
By the way, Breland Speaks. Breland Speaks getting a lot of love here. But that was a quick cut, obviously, right? Speaks was yesterday, and one of the 10 guys that got let go. And I don't think it's related at all to that. I think there are other players. But also the big name stuff, there are 2 big name guys out there that you could sign. Nobody has ever heard of most of the other guys. It's Jan or Randy Gregory. And I don't think you're signing either one. Like we're just saying, it just doesn't fit the locker room. Doesn't fit the style that these guys are looking for. So I don't think that's it. Now, I'm not telling you that they can't sign somebody or maybe they make a trade. Is there somebody that's possible for a trade piece out there for the Jags? I don't see it. Now, what I always do tell you is that the trade deadline is tomorrow. Trade deadline's a couple months away, so you compile some stuff to potentially make a move at some point, and they do have plenty of money that they're able to move around still and get under the cap and take a big salary on if need be. But it's an interesting move, no doubt. This one I didn't see coming at all, into a position that you can maybe say is one of the weakest depth-wise from a proven. It's very top-heavy. It's great top-heavy. Great.
Oh, it's the best.
Great.
Yeah.
But after that, it falls off big time. Like big-time drop-off. And they just made it thinner. I mean, at least on paper, they made it thinner.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at some of the, because here's my thing too. Like I'm looking at free agents here. Like I feel like some of these guys are already been picked up. Like is Tyus Bowser, is he been picked up?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
He's still available.
He's still available.
Would he do anything for you?
I mean, I feel like he's a bigger dude, isn't he? Is he not with the Ravens?
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's like.
Well, no, because here's the thing. I don't think it's a free agent. Because if it was a free agent, you would have brought him in by now.
Shaq Lawson just get signed?
And
Lawson, I think, just got signed by somebody. And I can't remember who it is. I don't know if it was like the Colts or the Bears or something like that. But I'm pretty sure he just got signed the last week.
If it was a free agent, I feel like he would have been here by now. Like you would want to see him at least get a couple training camp reps, preseason reps, and everything. So like, I don't see it being a free agent. I think if there is a plan in place, it could be a trade of some sort.
It doesn't feel like one of those old guy moves, right? Like let's just say Calais didn't sign with a team, and because he's like, hey, I'm not going to go through training camp, right? I just want to play. Yeah. Like we see that from time to time with some of those guys. That's not it. Like there's not that out there.
Do you think they have an advantage of having played on Friday night as opposed to maybe Sunday, where they could after the game?
Yeah. I think that. I think so. I wouldn't be. Now,
Shaq Lawson's still available.
Oh, he is available.
Yeah.
Man, what did I think I saw? The other thing about this, Austin, you're right. Everybody's got to go through cuts, so they might be reading the room a little bit and saying, "We think X guy's going to get cut. We like him, right?" That might be it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's part of it. You've got to read the rest of the league and what they're going to do. Everybody's got to cut 37 guys. And some will cut for salary cap reasons, and some will cut for other reasons. So maybe they've got their eyes on somebody. We'll see. Hey, let's do this. Take a time out. There's a bunch of news this morning that impact the opener. We haven't even got to Friday night's game. And here's the deal. I understand the scoreboard. I get it Friday night and what it said, and they were playing backups and all that. I mean, my blanket statement here is going to be it beats the alternative. They took care of business, right? They did what they were supposed to do. But there is something else, and I want to get your take on this, because there's something that I think you should be excited about, what happened on Friday night, and it has nothing to do with the scoreboard. I'll tell you where I'm going with that, plus some news that impacts the first quarter of the season for the Jaguars. And the Jaguars, knock on wood, are getting a little bit of some breaks here in the early part of the schedule. How big are those breaks? I don't know, but they are getting some breaks, and that was solidified a little bit today, especially in the season opener. We'll tell you what happened. More to come. Brent and Austen show on a Monday. It's a busy one already. Happy football season, everybody. We're on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Oh, man, it is that time. I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh, my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, you know, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out GWOutdoorLiving.com for your free estimate.
Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnichtBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. Your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJacks.com.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. BoldCityAC.com. And they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Are we on? Doesn't sound as good in my ears. But yeah, I guess we are on.
I think we're good.
Maybe I lowered it.
I sound great.
Maybe my ears aren't working as
Mr.
well.
Audible chocolate coming at you.
Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. And hope you had a good weekend, everybody. Now we get the lull in the action until the Miami Dolphins in a couple of weeks. And the Jags looked really good on Friday. And I get it. They should look good, all that stuff. But they did. There's plenty of times over the years the Jags should do this or that and didn't. So we were just talking in the break. Trevor Lawrence, he was on one the other night now. I mean, he threw 10 passes and all 10 were really good. Mm-hmm. And some were brilliant.
Yep.
If we get that, Trevor, I think Dan Orlovsky said he'll be in the MVP race if you get that, Trevor.
Yeah, he was locked in, ready to roll. You know, and I don't care. And I get it. It's against the twos of Atlanta, the twos and threes and everything. But you know, it's like I talked about on Friday. I'm not going to look at what players are playing in depth purposes. All I'm going to see is, can they take care of business or not? And guess what? Offensive line, for the most part, took care of business. Trevor Lawrence took care of business. Wide receivers took care of business. Defense, for the most part, took care of business. Like, it's a lot to like. And it's a confidence builder now going into Miami. I mean, I don't think it could have went any better for the Jaguars.
Let me ask you this from a guy who played in some different systems. Like, this is what I like about what the Jags just did. They came into this offseason with an edge to them. They came into the preseason with an edge to them. I thought the edge could go away based on all the positive news from stadium to contracts to everything else. They didn't forget that edge. To me, they still showed it. They had fun. They were loose at times, but they also were very businesslike. How many times have I said in the last month the Jags looked businesslike in camp? Like it felt a little bit different. The Jags had that one Saturday practice on offense that was like, oh, no. And they bounced back from that and never had one again and were very steady. You still saw steady development, good play from Trevor, steady development from a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. I think Evan Ingram continues to ascend in his career path. It's been amazing. Another big game for him. So all those things, like when you can hit the benchmarks, you can say you're going to be physical. They look a little bit more physical. They do. Their body types look physical. The way they're playing looks a little bit more physical. We got to see that more with the 5 offensive linemen, the way they leaned on the run game. I mean, they ran for over 200 yards. And it wasn't just, this is what I like, Austin, it wasn't just the first-team guys. No matter who they put out there, they controlled the games in this preseason with their offense. And what do we keep saying? Their offense has to be the identity of this football team. So I think they did that. Now, again, I'm not naive to this, folks. Like, I've done this for a long time. I get the preseason is the preseason. I mean, the Detroit Lions went 4-0 and then went 0-16. Like, that's what does happen in the preseason sometimes. The Rams didn't play anybody that went to the Super Bowl. So this isn't like naive Brent, like, oh, my gosh, look what. I just think when you set out on a little bit of a mission, they hit the benchmarks. To me, like a team and a franchise and an organization like the Steelers or the Patriots of the last 20 years or the Ravens would do. And it felt more like that to me. And that's a feeling that we haven't had a lot around here, quite frankly.
No, to me, it just comes down to doing what you're supposed to do. And the Jaguars were supposed to go out there against Atlanta 2s and 3s, and do their thing. And they absolutely did. It's simple as that. Now, if they didn't, if Trevor Lawrence is getting hit in the backfield, if they can't run the football, if the offense looks stagnant, then we're coming here hitting the panic button.
Yeah.
But we're not having those conversations because they took care of business. That's all you can ask to do. Like, would you have loved to see the 1s versus 1s? Sure, why not? But you know what? I'm just glad that they took care of business on both sides of the ball. And once again, I can't echo this enough. Gave them confidence going into Miami now. Because they're not like, when they're breaking down film, whether it's a coordinator, whether it's Doug Peterson trying to highlight these great plays, I guarantee they're not going to go every single play. Well, keep in mind now, guys, it's against the 2s. So, this is a great play here by Trevor, but Trevor, it's against the 2s of Atlanta. No. They're celebrating. They're putting the pluses on the sheet saying, this is a good play. This is a good play. This is a good play because it was a good play. So I'm not worried about who they played against, what it looked like. All I'm concerned about is that they took care of business. That falls on coaching, getting them ready to go. It falls on the players, making sure they're ready to go. Everybody was ready to go Friday night.
You have come in after each preseason game. You're like, hey, okay, I saw this, I saw that. In the first segment, you just talked about how Roy Robertson, Harris, Mason Smith jumping in there starting. This rotation of players, which it looks like you're going to see. I'll even add to that and say I just think they're going to put these young guys in action.
So I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what the plan is with Roy Robertson Harris.
Yeah.
I have zero idea.
Yeah.
Because you talk about a guy in the second preseason game, if I'm mistaken, played in the fourth quarter.
He did.
And then you talk about a guy in the last preseason game, probably the most important one, was the starter. I don't know what the plan is. Like, if I wasn't watching the game and you show me Roy Robertson Harris's his snap chart of when he went in the game, if he started, how long he was playing for, I would have said, oh, he's on the trade block.
Yeah.
That's
a good point.
They're trying to ship him off.
He might have been.
Might still be. I don't know. But it's just, you don't really see a lot of this where it's okay, we're going to play this dude in the fourth quarter of the second preseason game, and then guess what? Yours. And I get it. Eric Armstead will fill that role when he comes back. But nevertheless, okay, then we're going to have you be the starter of the last preseason game.
Yeah.
That was a little surprising to me.
And again, Eric Armstead is healthy enough now, but they kept him out of this one, so that's one of the reasons that was open to do. But I think that's a good point. I mean, well, let's just ask you then. Does Eric Hamby's jumped in here a little bit too? Does Roy Robertson Harris get dealt in the next before the start of the season? Either one of you guys?
No, because then I think you're really relying way too much on the young guys. You got to have some on the interior with, I don't know, they've put too much into him and they've paid him too much. And if they were going to cut him and they thought they could have got a pick out of him, they would have done so. And I don't think training camp or these preseason games have done anything to improve his trade stock. So if they were going to do something, they would have had all offseason to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has to be here unless, once again, there's a grander scheme that we're not seeing quite yet. But I just think it speaks volumes that, and maybe it was to try to prove a point to him. Maybe it was like, hey, man, you got to step up your game a little bit.
Might be.
You're playing the fourth quarter. Maybe he kind of, took his punishment, if you will, and then they rewarded him by him starting the last preseason game. I mean, that's a possibility. I'll say this much, and there's so much to break down from that Falcons game, once again, even though it was against the Twos. I mean, Tyson Campbell showed up in a big way.
Yeah.
I mean, he's making every penny worth it seems like. I mean, once again, preseason, but so far so good for Tyson Campbell. And there's a lot to like about that Jaguars defense. If I was going to say one thing that I didn't like, or one thing that kind of perked my attention up a little bit, and I alluded to this 2 weeks ago when we talked about the RPO. So the only success that Atlanta seemed to have on offense at all was when they ran no huddle. And I think, and you mentioned this, Brent, to start the show off with, with the rotation of the guys and almost game planning on what the offense is going to give you, it seems a little bit like that Gus Bradley defense where it's like, we're going to have adjustments based off of what they give us from that offense, right? There's some defenses in the NFL where the ego is so strong where it's like, I don't care what they throw at us, our base defense will be fine, or our nickel defense will be fine. And then there's some defenses that will go, okay, well, let's see the personnel that they have, let's see the players that they have, and let's adjust off this. I think Ryan Nielsen and the Jaguars definitely fall on the ladder. And when we talk about that, that's good and everything, but if you go RPO, if you go up-tempo, if you go no huddle, sometimes, as we saw back with Gus Bradley's defense, it could come back to bite you in the butt a little bit. So, that's the only thing I'll be watching when the regular season starts, and I think Miami is going to be a good litmus test of, explosive, high-tempo offense of how the Jaguars can adjust to that.
So let me give you something that caught my attention. This is why I think you should be excited about the Jags, in my opinion. This is why I'm excited about the Jags. First of all, I think Trevor Lawrence's play and steadiness and the emergence of a Brian Thomas Jr., all those things, those recipes. Again, I go offense here. Defense still a mystery to me. I still say, I'm an I don't know. I really am. And we've been watching this, and I'm an I don't know because they've kept things so close. I don't know what. I think it's going to look a little bit different than what we've even seen. So I'm going to go on the offense where this should be an offensive team. This should be a team that when you go to Miami, you got to put up 27 plus. You should be able to put up 27 plus. You should be able to maybe dictate play. You should be able to have them catching you. Because you're in year 3 of a system, you're paid your quarterback, you've got a Super Bowl winning coach, you've got all those ingredients. And identity and offense should be it. That's where we should start with this football team. Well, I like their identity so far. I like the quarterback and what he's doing. I like the fact that they looked good in what they were running, even without Christian Kirk. I like the fact that they are even deeper with Parker Washington's play and Tank Bigsby coming on a little bit. But what I really liked is the fact that they were under center a little bit. And I think, to me, I've spent a lot of this offseason when I have poked around a little bit, and I talk about this all the time. Why can't people stop Houston last year? Why can't they figure it out? What was it? Well, the answer that I got back a lot this offseason was they do a great job of mixing up shotgun and under center. And that puts the defense in a little bit of a predicament. And so when I go back to and marry the pieces of this puzzle together, and if you've listened to us a lot, I'll reference these things. Trevor said the offense is going to look a little different. That was back in April.
Fullback.
Well, Evan Ingram was lined up back there in a crouch a couple of times, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I thought you were going to jump all over this morning.
No, man, because it was obvious. We all saw it. Come on.
I know.
I've been preaching this day one.
You have said it, right? You said, hey, they're going to run more. And I asked you last week. I was like, okay, you've been saying this, but why? Remind us why. Yeah. And you said the H-back stuff, the fullback kind of stuff.
First 2 or 3 plays of the game, I think.
Yeah, man.
Well, but guess where that play action to Brian Thomas came off? Under center, off that kind of look. Travis Etienne had already run it a little bit. And they're going to commit to the run more. Trevor even voiced that after the game and said, hey, this is what we've been working on. And he's voiced it in other spots too. But you really saw it because of what you said. In game 3, you see a little bit more of that. They want to practice a little bit more of that. Well, it was only, I think John Shipley had it was 4 snaps under center. And he went 3 for 4 from under center. And all of it was good stuff, you know? So I just put all those kind of pieces together as a guy that doesn't claim to know everything about the X's and O's of football. And I say, okay, how are the Jags supposed to look different? This is year 3. This is an evolving offense. You should know it operationally. Well, operationally, they're pretty good. They look very good. Everybody's on the same page. Talent-wise, they've got the parts. I mean, they can make it happen. Offensive line, well, we'll see, but it was a decent performance the other night. And now you add this element of saying, hey, we're comfortable if Trevor has to go under center. Because the bottom line is you can go around the league and ask and say, oh, well, our guy's not comfortable being there. Our guy's not, that's not the way football's played anymore in high school and college and everything else. Our guy's not comfortable. Well, C.J. Stroud was comfortable doing it. And C.J. Stroud and their looks and what they were able to do and how they were able to hit the deep ball. Well, it looks to me in a copycat league like the Jags have said, hey, we're going to play that Andy Reid style offense because that's what Doug Peterson does, but we're going to add this little wrinkle in. That's a Shanahan wrinkle that's been very good around the NFL. And maybe the Jags add the deep ball game with Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, and they're going under center and running the football a little bit more. All those things married together get me excited about where this offense can go, because we were wondering coming off last season have people figured it out a little bit, right? Yeah. Well, you got to evolve it. You got to add wrinkles to it, and you've got the talent to be able to do it. It looks like the Jags are going to try to do that, and it might even help Evan Ingram's game out even more than he's already contributed the last couple of years.
Yeah, so to me, it's definitely a schematic change, but it's also, we could say identity and be cliche, but I think it's a mindset change as well, what this offense is going to look like. Because I think if you look at the Jaguars the past couple of years, and listen, every team wants to be physical. It's the game of football. I don't consider the Jaguars a physical offense the past couple of years, right? Because they could not win in the trenches. I think they were more of a team on offense that was built off of speed and built off of finesse. I think if you look at the Chiefs, you want to say they're built off speed and finesse, but then you watch and you look deeper at it with a guy like Isaiah Pacheco, they weren't afraid to run the ball last year a little bit. I look at a team we can say an explosive team like the Eagles. Eagles have great wide receivers, right? Well, they also can pound the rock as well, and then they set that up with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think with the Jaguars, it's the exact same thing. I think we're seeing maybe a little bit of an identity shift from being more of a speed team, more of a finesse team, and now winning the trenches a little bit more with a guy like Tank Bigsby. We've seen Anton Harrison the entire preseason, all right? Guy, to take another cliche thing out of the combine, the guy eats bolts and stuff for breakfast, okay? Guy's playing nasty.
People.
He's throwing people. He's got a nasty demeanor about him.
Yeah.
And you love to see it. And I think, once again, that's predicated off of what this offense is going to look like, trying to pound the rock, quarterbacks being under center, fullbacks until I black out. It's fantastic. It's cool to see because it's smash mouth football. It's win in the trenches football. And once again, that's going to set up that play action, and that'll set up the deep threats.
Hey, Hamby, do you have Cam Robinson? I think this will go along nice in this conversation. You just said it's a mentality. I think if I remember correctly, interviewing Cam Friday night, he kind of hinted at that. It's not like, hey, doing it. It's like you've got to buy into doing it. And I agree with you. I think that's the way we even when Pittsburgh as an organization isn't physical, we think they are.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Najee Harris, pound the rock 30 times a game and get your 2.5 per yards of carry. Let's go. But we're the Pittsburgh Steelers, baby.
But go back to 2017. We thought the Steelers were physical because they had Big Ben Roethlisberger and they were the Pittsburgh Steelers. And
Pouncey.
They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't. In fact, they were, from a Pittsburgh standpoint, they were kind of soft. Jags punched him in the face.
Yeah.
And ran all over him and scored all over him. And it was Leonard Fournette running over Mike Mitchell. And it was like, that was not Pittsburgh, but that was our perception. Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think the perception of really Andy Reid's offense at all, even though you're lying to yourself, because Pacheco, he can run over people. And defensively, they were very physical. But I don't think our impression of Doug is we're going to punch it in the mouth. Yeah. I think they have changed that mentality a little bit. I think they I'll give them credit. They identified it right away. In January, they preached it, and so far they've walked it. The question is, can they walk it once the regular season starts?
Brent, listen, I know I'm not sure what the budget is in our network and everything, but I'm going to need a still shot of Evan Ingram in the backfield of that preseason game, and I want that blown up right here on the wall so we can just appreciate it and all its greatness. Because you must be mistaken if you didn't think that when I was watching that preseason game that I didn't pause it and just look at that and just go, and just let it breathe a little bit. Literally pause it in my DVR. I go, There's Evan Ingham in the backfield. There's that fullback that we were waiting for, and then I hit play again.
You know what's really interesting to me before we get to Cam is I talked to Evan right after the game on Friday night. By that time, I'm sure more people were tuned out. Like it was the end of the last preseason game. I get it,
Wrestling was on too, you know?
and we might play it.
Got that too.
We'll play that in a little bit, maybe. But I did ask him this, and it just kind of popped into my mind. That edge, that toughness, that everything. I know you usually resemble your coach, or maybe it's the defensive coordinator, or maybe it's your quarterback, or that's where you get your vibe from. In many respects, the way this team is trying to be, resemble him. This guy's like, he's got an edge. He's like locked in all the time. Like, he doesn't smile much, but he does. He has fun. I mean, he's really a cool guy and a nice guy and all those things. But it's time to work. It's time to work. He might exemplify that more than anybody on their roster. And so for him to be the guy that's actually helping to be a little bit more physical in that sense, I think is almost perfect.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think they feed off him and what he's done. How can you not? Look what he's done here in Jacksonville. The success, it's not just talk. He's acted it.
Yeah.
And now I think he has a chance to even do a little bit more in this. All right, let's get to Cam Robinson. I like the Cam Robinson stuff on this topic about identity and running the football. Here was Cam after the game Friday night.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry. You want to paint pictures instead first?
I had it just in time.
Microsoft Paint.
And by the way, this is like so this was the 7-yard run right off the rip, and then ATN runs for 26.
But there's that fullback too, Brent.
No, that's what I'm looking at. I know.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just trying to stay conscious here.
How much, by the way, while you've got this, how much does him being back? We've seen Christian Kirk over the years in the backfield and stuff, and I know he was going to be a fullback. That was more of a decoration piece and matchup prop. Right? Yeah. But how much does Brian Thomas Jr., like whether it's going in motion or bring, the attention that he has because of his speed, help some of these kind of packages and looks?
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely does. I think, maybe people want to sleep on him a little bit still. Like, okay, he's a rookie. We'll see. But, if we all think he can do what he can do, eventually he's going to command attention where anytime this guy's in motion, you're going to have to follow him.
But because the one thing about like the league and the one thing about sports is it doesn't matter. Let's just say, I don't know if Brian Thomas can catch however many balls or whatever, but you respect speed. You're scared of speed.
Of course.
Right?
You have to, yeah.
And so that's, to me, and all they talk about is how fast this dude is, right? And it's easy speed, and he can put you to sleep kind of speed and then beat you for 60.
Yeah.
So I think he is an important element here, even as, again, almost like a decoy in spots. It's going to be fascinating to watch that part of moving him around in the offense and how defenses react to it. All right, let's get to Cam Robinson on the mentality of this football team right now.
It's always room to grow. It's always room to get better. We watch the film. That's kind of actually what we use it for. Kind of go out there, get a feel for those type of games again, and kind of knock the rust off and see what we need to get better, see what we need to work on.
First time you guys have been out there as a unit. I know it was only a couple drives, but was it pretty good?
It felt good. We're going to watch the film, and one thing I've learned is it's never as good as you thought. It's never as bad as you thought. So we'll watch the film and see what we need to clean up and see what we did well.
Been such an emphasis on running the football, being more physical. You feel like the conversations have led to performance, and you guys are doing that, not just you guys, but the backs as well?
I think it's just a focus now. It's easy to yell, run the ball, but more goes into it than that. So I think it's just something that we're focusing on now and that we're implementing a little bit more, and I think it's starting to pay dividends for us.
Lastly, 3 years in this offense. You got to go way back to find a Jags offense that's been able to have 3 years in a scheme. Are you seeing some dividends of that, Trevor, the receivers, you guys?
Yeah, I think so. Ultimately, just familiarity. That allows you to play fast. It allows you to play confident, and I think that's kind of starting to show a little bit.
Yeah, I looked this up. It hit me just a couple of days ago. I had to go back to Dirk Cutter to find. So, like Hackett, if somebody wants to get technical, Hackett, I think, was in the system offensively for 3 years, but he took over for Greg Olsen, who was the offensive coordinator, like with a few games to go in the one season, and then he was the guy for the next couple of years. And that bridged Gus Bradley and Doug Marrone. So it wasn't like it was Doug Marrone's system for 3 years. So it was Greg Olsen's system that then he took over. So he doesn't count, in my opinion. But Cutter, I didn't realize was there for that as long as he was. He was there 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And then even Coughlin, I think most people will give credit to Coughlin's system, but he never had like There were a couple years I don't think he even had an offensive coordinator. I think he was the guy. So, I mean, technically his Coughlin's system had a couple of different offensive coordinators. So, like, Press Taylor is in a land and a situation in Jacksonville where few have been.
Yeah.
To be in the same spot for 3 years. And we know it's Doug's and Press's, but it is so unique in Jacksonville to be here.
Yeah.
To have 3 years in it. Like, we just don't know what that looks like. And I know people are like, people don't want to sit and talk about that stuff. But the bottom line is the best quarterbacks that have played football have been in situations where it's been consistent. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady was forever. Even when Charlie Weiss and company built that system, they kept the system. Even when Charlie left, and they kept building off it. And look at Mahomes right now. I mean, the system's in play. Nobody goes through 3 different systems and is like the best offense in the league.
No, correct. But the system always changes, though, depending on who you have at your disposal. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, the system stayed the same, but their play calling and stuff has definitely changed, and their philosophies have changed.
That's what we're seeing, I think, a little bit this year. That's kind of our previous conversation from the segment.
Yeah.
But a lot of the whys, right? The wording, the vocabulary, the basics still stay in place as you build off that. Mm-hmm. And I just think I don't think that's an underrated part of this here in Jacksonville. Yeah. I think that's an important part of this. And it's important for it to work. So hopefully you can get another 3 years out of it. And we're talking about year 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where this could potentially go if it works and it's right. And right now it feels like it's in a pretty good spot. Let's do this. Take a time out. I didn't mention some of the breaks that the Jags are getting. We'll do that. Some news out of Miami, some news out of Cleveland. And that goes along with some other news that we already knew about through the first quarter of the season, which is very difficult. But the Jags are in a pretty good spot. And now how important is it because of maybe a break or two to say, let's come out of the gates fast here in Jacksonville? What would it say if the Jags were able to do that? A little bit of that conversation before we get some other things like Florida State. Pat McAfee. Oh, there's some fun stuff on the docket here today on the Brent and Austen Show here on a Monday. And don't forget, this week we debut our Friday night Zone Blitz. Starts at 8 o'clock. We actually have a vote going on right now on Twitter under the Action Sports Jacks handle. You can pick the 5th game we're going to show live look-ins to. So think Red Zone, folks. This is what we're doing. High school football now, brand new on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network Friday. We will go 8 p.m. until midnight with high school football, and it will look like something you've never seen in the high school ranks, and we can't wait to debut it on Friday night. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Right now, get 10% off any residential job of $500 or more. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
At Southampton, local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the golf club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Well, here's the news that also came out this morning. Nick Chubb will miss the first 4 games coming back from injury, and Bradley Chubb will miss the first 4 games, going to be on the physically unable to perform list, and obviously that impacts the Jags. Week 1, Week 2. Houston and Autry, Week 4. And Buffalo lost like 6 guys just in the offseason.
Milano,
so
yeah.
They were a little, and Milano, you're right. So and knock on wood here, but the Jags, and let's hope they get through practices and everything else, they're about as healthy as a team can be to start the year. I mean, they are in really good shape. I think Armstead will still be limited to some degree on a snap count or whatever. I doubt he's going to get a full workload coming off the injuries, but he's going to play, it appears. I think Kirk will be back, and really you're missing Dewey. Like, that's going to be the guy that you're missing. That's very healthy. And I don't know if any one of those guys that we just mentioned, from Chubb to Milano to Autry, are like the difference between winning and losing. But it's certainly a little bit of an edge for the Jags. And who knows what your health situation is by week 2, 3, and 4 here in Jacksonville. But the bottom line is that it's a little bit of an advantage where you can use every advantage possible in those first 4 games, which is a tough stretch. Again, I don't know what it means, but it's notable to me.
I mean, it's notable. Obviously, those are some big-time players being out, so you take that as an advantage. You know, I mean, you'd rather see them out than in if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, yeah, what it's going to look like a couple weeks from now, time will tell, but at least right now, you can be excited for it.
All right, let's bounce around here a little bit, and we'll get back to the Jags, but we were just talking in the break. College football weekend started this weekend. Florida State loses to Georgia Tech. It was actually a very good game, like an entertaining game in a lot of ways. But a stunner because it's Georgia Tech. A stunner, some would say, because the Noles are top 10. Which, like, the biggest joke to me, and I kind of tweeted this after the game, biggest joke in college football is the preseason poll. Why should we, but like, this is goofy to me. Why did we believe Florida State is top 10 in the country? Why do we believe they're one of the favorites to go to the college football playoff? They lost like their entire defense. They lost their receivers. They lost Jordan Travis, who was an incredible leader for them and a very good player and a playmaker with arms and legs, by the way. And the rest of college football just said, yeah, they're 10th in the country.
No, but I mean, we do the same thing with like Georgia too. Like Georgia loses players every single year and they can reload. I think the thought was with Florida State is, all right, they got 10 transfers coming in that are going to have immediate impact right away.
Yeah.
10 quality transfers. Yeah, you got to replace Jordan Travis and everything, but in Mike Norvell you trust. I think people thought like, okay, this is going to be the emergence now of a program that's going to cement itself with consistency year in and year out. Whoops.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I got to push back a little. I don't think people are buying into them being 10th in the country. I think most people know that the preseason poll is fraudulent. They don't put trust in it. However, it's true that a lot of people pick them to win the ACC. I don't think that's as much as everybody thought they were still top 10 as ACC is weak.
I get you.
So we're gonna trust Norvell and the couple players that they did get in the transfer portal.
So how surprising was this loss? Listen, I would say all I said, and I did this on Saturday too, and say you should still be in a place where you beat Georgia Tech. And by the way, good for Brent Key and Georgia Tech. They obviously have built it up. They had 4 out of 5 guys coming back on the offensive line. They're a little bit better than people want to give them credit for probably at this stage, and it's kind of turned pretty quick. But you're Florida State. Where you are in the Mike Norvell era, you should win that game, even if you're still trying to figure some things out. Because I'm a big believer in Norvell. I think he will figure it out. I think they'll get the offense going a little bit more. I think he'll develop some of these transfer guys. When you go to the portal, though, I don't know how you can expect the portal to deliver right away. That's a lot of things you got to glue together. Right? Mm-hmm. The difference to me between like a Georgia this year, first of all, Georgia's now been doing it for 5 years, right? You know they're the number 1 recruiting class or 2 recruiting class, and they've got Carson Beck, who might be the number 1 overall pick coming back. Like everybody who thought all of a sudden DJ Uiagalelei is going to be a Heisman candidate just because Jordan Travis is out of their mind.
Right.
Guy's been an average football player, and I'll say this, I don't think he lost you the football game. He helped you come back and win in the fourth quarter. The defensive front lost them the football game. They couldn't make a stop.
For Florida State lost them?
Yeah.
Let me throw this out there. So with Buster Faulkner as the OC of Tech, he comes from Georgia. It was the offensive analyst under Monken. That's why he was probably getting head coaching job looks, but he says Haynes King is coming back for another year. They finished top 25 every offensive category last year. Georgia Tech did, which is why I agree with you. They should have gotten more love going into this game. And they have a returning quarterback, Buster Faulkner, the OC. With all of their option, all of their motion, it almost was like the defensive front was rendered useless. And Glenn C. just put in the chat, and Austen, thoughts on this. Glenn C. just put on the chat, the front 4 was MIA with MJJ, Marvin Jones Jr., who was the top transfer from Georgia to FSU. Mm-hmm. But how much can the defensive line even do when on every single play there's 3 options? This is almost like a shotgun with 3 options with a quarterback that can throw the football at least decently. Mm-hmm. Everything is side to side. With the defensive line going side to side every single play, they're never going downhill. A lot of their ability is kind of is hindered, right?
No, I mean, absolutely. What it comes down to is your keys. As a defensive lineman, each player is responsible for, whether it's the wide receiver, the jet formation, whether it's the running back. Like every person's responsible for somebody. And you saw inconsistency. You saw guys not being in the right spot. You just saw confusion, basically. And that, I mean, it's hard to, like, when you play a team like Georgia that does a lot of that, it's hard to mimic that in practice because, yeah, you can watch film and say, okay, I need my scout team to do this, but you can't do it full speed, right? So, like, once you get in the game, it's like, oh, crap, like, this is a lot faster than I anticipated. I can't react to it. Like, that's what you saw against Georgia Tech. Now, did they not study enough? Were they not prepared? I mean, I feel like you had the athletes to be successful from Florida State on the defensive line. They they weren't in the right spot. So maybe it is a little bit of the preparation. But like to me, the story, because we saw it in the first drive for Florida State, like they did really well. They pounded the rock a little bit. It was going to be like what we expected. And shout out to Georgia Tech, because they changed their whole scheme around. They said, you know what, DJ, you got to beat us with your arm. And we're going to go press man coverage. And once again, I don't know who the wide receivers for Florida State were. There's some replacements and everything, but we're going to go press coverage on wide receivers, and we're going to dare you to beat us over the top. Now, a couple times.
Trying to cover 0 on 4th and 8.
Oh, yeah. And now a couple times, like there's some pass interference calls. Guys got burnt, but, you didn't get, like, it's bend, don't break. And that's what you saw. So shout out to Georgia Tech for saying, you know what? If we're going down, we're going to go down with DJ's arm, but we're not going to lose in the trenches.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And that's admirable. It's admirable when you take a defensive coordinator and you take that ego and you go, you know what, guys? What I initially had planned, I don't see this working like we want it to. Let's call an audible here, and let's just say, all right, press coverage, cover 0, engage 8, whatever you want to call it. You're playing man. Let's go out there and see what we can do. And it worked.
Yeah, that's it did work, and then obviously controlling the ball on the offensive side worked. And listen, I don't think Florida State's bad. I don't think Georgia Tech's bad. I think Florida State's pretty average, and I think they're going to. I mean, how many games are they going to lose? They might be a 4-loss team this year, unless they really turn. Now with this, I thought they could be a 3-loss team anyway. I wasn't convinced. We just had this conversation last Thursday.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I wasn't convinced they were going to be the team to go from the ACC to the playoff, even with a loss or 2. Now I think they might have as many as 4. And who knows? So maybe it gets sideways. I'll say this about, and again, big believer in Norvell. I love what he's done. And I think they'll grow. I think they'll get better off this. I really do. I think he's a good coach. And his teams have shown that they get better. I'm a little surprised at this stage of their build with the successes they've had the last couple of years. They can't find a young quarterback just to come in and take over.
Yeah.
And I understand we're in a day and age where the transfer portal is big and that's where you go to get guys, but they went and got an average guy. Like, I mean, he's an average guy. Like, he's a guy that's been pretty disappointing. He's not going to be a Heisman front runner. Like, that's not who you went and got, right? So
yeah, but he had a lot of hype coming. I mean, I think it was more about the hype.
They created
factor.
a little bit of the hype. Yeah, I think look, he looks good. He does all this stuff.
Yeah.
You're right. They created a little bit of that. But I think that's a little bit college football. And just for you bettors out there, against the spread won all 4 games this week, which means we overhype everybody in college football. Like, go bet the dogs. And I don't mean your dogs. I mean the dogs this weekend. That'd be the advice.
Yeah, relax, Hamby. Chill out, Brent.
Hold on here.
Chill out.
One point I wanted to bring up, and this was part of this is DJ and stuff like that, but so many people. In hindsight, I'm thinking, man, I should have given Georgia Tech a better shot, also, because I about sprinkled the spread, but outright. Just because they returned about 18 of their 22 starters, Georgia Tech did. Okay, and to your point, Brent, FSU has openly admitted we are anti-high school, pretty much.
Yeah, they basically
are the transfer. We want to be the transfer school.
They turned the program around on it. In fairness to them,
and it's worked.
Yeah.
However, you have a team that's been through the mud together. 18 of 22 starters returning, and all the clowns on Twitter saying, this FSU team is revenge tour. No, it's not a revenge tour. None of those guys were there 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. Literally 40 new guys. So they have never been through adversity together. They've never been, Marvin Jones Jr. from Georgia has never been in a tight ball game or in a regular season in his life. And when you have a whole group of guys who have never been in a tight game together versus Georgia Tech, who returned all of their guys, this is what happens in the transfer. This is where I feel like we're going to see a little bit going forward more and more. These transfer teams early in the year, it takes them longer.
I didn't know if it would do that in college football. College basketball is like this, right? Where we see those guys.
We had Coach Driscoll on here talk about that, and what spurred that conversation was Team USA in the Olympics a little bit, how they were looking because, they don't play together the whole year, right? And then Coach Driscoll kind of alluded to college basketball, where sometimes, like I think UK is a prime example. Not necessarily transfers, but young guys that come in, they don't play together, they have all the talent in the world, but you don't play together.
Yeah.
And you have no chemistry, you have no rapport, and usually that ends with the first, second, third round exit in the tournament. You don't ever go to the dance and win a championship. And maybe the same thing could be said now for college football, where we have all these guys transferring, all these big names, all these star recruits out of high school and everything, and you throw them in the mix, and all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, they're great, but can they all play together?
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's going to be some kind of analysis, some kind of PFF with this, but I would be really curious to see in terms of the schools that have like the most transfers, how that correlates to wins and losses.
Yeah, it'll be something to watch. And I think that what you guys just kind of putting all that together, this happened too in baseball this past spring. Mm-hmm. We saw it. We saw D3 guys and D2 guys helping out the North Carolinas of the world. Why? Because they were older, right? They weren't the stud freshmen coming in. It's a D3 guy helping out North Carolina go to the World Series. Like those kind of things. And so age matters. Age has mattered. The age is how Butler was built, right? They would get that team that stayed together, and then they just out-chemistry you, outsmart you, out-IQ you. They weren't out-talenting you, but that's the way because they'd been in the system. Like, that stuff works. And I think we saw it in baseball this year. Evansville, and I don't even know how old they were, but Evansville. How the heck did Evansville make, like, a run? They almost beat Tennessee and knocked them out. Tennessee ended up winning the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe I agree with you guys. I don't know if that was a football thing. I didn't know if it was going to be a football thing, but it might be a football thing. We'll have to see. Where's the age? Maybe the age, or how long you've been there, or the transfer portal, meshing it together with the youth. It's going to be an interesting study, and we just have too small samples at this point. One last thing about FSU, and I just said this, like, they were more deserved. Just to go back to this, how you got to be careful, because even in the post game, it was like, Brent Key, you just beat the top 10 team in the country. You just beat the top 10. No, they're not. They weren't. They aren't. They shouldn't have been. Like, it's just that's the broken part of the system. And I know we can kind of admit it or say it, but the bottom line is the ESPNs of the world and everyone else, they inflate these teams like they're the top 10. Again, Alabama over the year, I always used to argue this against Alabama. Alabama had more leniency, because everybody thought they were so good to start. Mm-hmm. But so there was to go down. You weren't going to go down very far.
When do you want them to rank them, though?
Because 3 weeks in.
3 weeks in, you just have rankings?
Why not? Why are we rank? Well, I get why we rank them, but it's a little bit like picking an NFL schedule. I was trying to make a comparison today. We do this because why? It's good in front of here. It's fun conversation. I'm not dismissing. It's not fun conversation for everybody talking college football every day and all the rest.
You want to be able to say top 10 matchup week 1.
You want to be able to do that.
That's what it's all about.
Of it. Yeah. But the bottom line is, we know that we do this in the NFL, and we know 6 teams every year don't make it from the previous year. But I think it's a lot easier to do in football as well, to know the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be good.
6 teams don't make it from the previous year.
In the NFL to the playoffs.
In the playoffs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like 14 teams. Out of the 14, there will be 6 new blood teams from the previous year. Sure. Yet we're going to sit here and tell you that the Cleveland Browns are going to be good this year, and they're going to win 11 games.
Take it easy, Brent.
Right.
No one said, I'm not, take it easy.
But that's what we do, and I understand the nature of it, but we also have to have a reality to it. We're like, I just said, Florida State was more deserving of being in the college football playoff last year than being deserving of a 10th ranking in the preseason.
I can go. Yeah. I can go.
Yeah.
I can go with that.
I mean, can you?
They had a body of work of 13-0.
Okay, but then how'd that work out for them? I mean, I get guys that play against like Georgia, but like, what?
We don't have time to get into all.
Oh, you want to get into it? Let's get into it real quick. Do you think they would have won their playoff game?
No, I don't.
You think they would have got blown out?
Yeah.
So then we're going to say they were deserving?
They were deserving to get in based on the criteria. If what I always had argued about last year is if you're going to say, hey, you've earned your way in, well, then Florida State had earned their way in. If you want to take the best team, then Georgia should have been in the Final Four. Yeah. Georgia, to me, was the best team in America last year, and they weren't even in it.
Mm-hmm. Hamby's grinning.
Sorry, that's not just Hamby love. That's just what I said before.
No, I've heard him say that before.
But wow, hey, one other thing about the college football stuff, we got to get it. How about McAfee? I mean, McAfee's like so big right now. So I if you didn't see it, he was absolutely blistered on his show on Friday. Jealous, yeah.
I'm jealous, man.
Like,
that's my goal.
Just hammered. Like, apparently,
I can't even talk about drinking on the show sometimes.
Throwing up like in commercial breaks, kind of hammered.
Yeah,
I love that Saban's like right there next to him.
I know,
what a
like,
great dynamic.
like the ultimate dad. Saban's right next to him. It's insane.
So he gets hammered. That starts going around, and I'm kind of wondering in real time, like, what's ESPN going to do? They're going to let him?
Not a damn thing, Brent.
Not a damn thing.
Is the answer to that question.
Like, he's on game day. Now, I think what should be applauded about McAfee is the fact that he made it to game day.
Yeah.
After what the situation he was in. I don't know what he took overnight.
A part of me thought, is he actually drinking, like, Coke or is it like, because it was like Guinness, but like, is he actually just drinking like Coca-Cola and it looks like Guinness and it's all kind of like a ploy?
I don't know. He's good at the ploy stuff, but I'm not sure he's that good.
Dude said he drank, 30 beers?
I don't know.
Come on, man.
Is that what he ended up saying?
I think he said he drank like 30-something beers.
About like gummies on the plane over.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know, man. I've drinking my fair share of Guinness. I feel like 30 Guinnesses and then have to get up early the next day for college game day.
That's what I'm saying. They might have extended the number.
I mean, unless you brought your own dialysis machine in the hotel with you and you're just filtering it out, I have a hard time believing you were up in like a conscious number, but like could actually talk football number
I know.
too.
Listen, I've seen drunk people though. He was drunk.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Are you guys? Does it bother? I guess that's what. It is what it is. ESPN's not doing anything about it. They actually like celebrated it on College Game Day.
Absolutely.
I was stunned by that. I was really surprised.
This is the times that we're living in, Brent.
Is it like? Is this a get off my lawn moment?
It is
a little bit.
Yep. Adapt or die, Brent. Let's start chugging beers.
I don't know.
No, this is the times that we're in now. I mean, I think when it comes to ESPN, like they're trying to grab the younger audience now. They're trying to grab the younger demographic because the younger demographic has more options in sports more than ever before. And I think Pat McAfee going to ESPN shows that they're trying to grab that younger demographic because I think that's everything, especially now with streaming services. Like, listen, the olds are always going to have, cable television and satellite and everything, but the young's coming up now. It's all at your fingertips. And when it comes to being at your fingertips beyond your cell phone, I think Pat McAfee is king. So I think ESPN understands that. Whether you agree with it or not, doesn't matter. That's the way that this thing is shifting towards, Brent. So either get on board or, get left in the dark ages.
Listen, I'm not a McAfee hater at all. I appreciate what he's done. I think it's fantastic. I think it's unbelievable what he's done. Really, I don't think he needs ESPN. I think we're to the point now where ESPN probably needs him, and that's why they don't make a reaction here. But I think also any other employee.
Oh yeah,
I don't think we've reached.
They're all like, come on.
Any other employee does this.
Van Pelt.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. Like, it's a different set of rules for McAfee, which again, good for him. Hamby, you're a young guy. Like, I'm just curious how you're a young guy, but with an old soul. So, like, and you do have your hat on backwards today. So, what? I mean, does it bother you? You're kind of like, let's go, Pat. Like, where are you at with this?
Oh, all of the fraternal Freds around the country got really excited to see
fraternal Freds.
Pat do his thing. They were up in uproar. So for them, it was perfect. For some of us, I'm not even really that big of a watcher of him, so it really didn't surprise me. It didn't really move the needle. It was just one of those things where he's gonna get clicks with this, and he's got a different set of rules, and it's all good. My thing is, I'm cool with him doing it on his show.
Oh, get off my lawn! Here we go.
But College Game Day,
get off my lawn!
Keep it pure for me because I'm still, like, give me the takes, give me
the feel good stories,
give me the feature. Yes, give me the feel good. I still miss Lee, even though
he's coming back next week. Oh, come on, man! The dude's a legend.
I know he's
miss
a
Lee
legend,
Corso. I know he's getting up there in age, but like he makes
keep him on forever, man.
Thank you.
It's almost Lou Holtz defense pickup, one touchdown, one touchdown.
Dr. Lou getting some hate.
Listen, I don't. It's just as somebody grown up in this business, it's really wild to me that you can do what he did on TV.
Yeah.
Right? It's wild. And I'm okay. Listen, if even the guys that had the Guinness in the booth, like, I'm cool. I'm not like so pure here that you can't show that on TV. I don't mind the swearing stuff. Some of it, like I don't mind a lot of that. Like I know we're in a new age, and I mean we don't need the parameters that we've needed back in the '80s or wherever else. Like that's got to be everything's got to be wholesome. Yeah, that's not the way it is. Like that's cool, but I was really stunned at this one. Man. Like it is to glorify. And I will say this, and I'm trying not to get on. Like I don't feel this way necessarily. I'm not influenced by people, but I do think people are influenced by people. Mm-hmm. And this guy's one of the cool cats out there right now. Yeah. And so you're telling me that some dude in some college campus didn't try to go drink 30 Guinnesses on Saturday because of it?
Brent,
that guy's probably in the hospital or dead.
Yeah. Do you know how excited I am? Like, and keep in mind, like, obviously, you know, I'm part of the Action Sports Jax family here, but also freelancer. So, do you know how excited am I? Where if I get a call up to the big leagues one day, I'm sitting with ESPN, you know, head honchos, and they're like, "All right, Austen, says here in your resume that back in 2012 with the Jaguars during St. Patrick's Day, you puked outside of the Ritz bar at 12:30 in the afternoon." Yes, sir, that is correct. And then I also keep in mind, after I puked, I went back in the bar and kept on drinking for another 5 hours. Ooh, we like that, Austen. We like that a lot. Like, these are the conversations that I'm going to be having one day when I'm trying to go to the big leagues. And I can't wait because Pat McAfee put me there.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? Like, back in the day, it's like, all right, tell us about your education, you know, education. Where'd you go to school? Oh, yeah, I went to Murray State. And you did journalism? Yeah. And how familiar are you with, like, you know, like all the technology, the cameras? Yeah. How much can you drink in one setting? That's what it's turning into, and that's where I'm going to be thriving, sir.
Well, we're living in a barstool world, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, GPA, really get out of here with the GPA.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah. BCA,
but I think that like barstool
VAC. Sorry,
sir. Can you take a breathalyzer right now? How drunk are you at this interview?
Barstool is one thing because you got to still like. I think there's a lot of folks that don't spend time on social media and know like what the barstool world is, and it's on social media, so you got to go find it. It's not when you're flipping through and you can see McAfee absolutely hammered. I think it takes on a different way, but it just shows you that we're living in that world. Like that's a world that's okay, and I don't know what that looks like in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, whatever. It's pretty eye popping. That was like we don't really see those kind of moments where it's like whoa, right? Wasn't there like whatever the scene was in some comedy where they kissed or something like that back in like the 70s, you know? One of the sitcoms, and that was like this big moment, you know, in sports. Well, sports in television.
Well, there was like one. I mean, this is like way back in the day, and I'm like, I don't know, I wasn't alive for this, but I remember like there was like a black and white show that showed the couple sleeping in the bed together.
There you go.
A husband and wife. This is like, I don't know if it was like Lucy. One of those things.
Oh, I Love Lucy.
It might have been I Love Lucy. Yeah.
That was like groundbreaking.
Glenn C.
Leave it to Beaver.
Glenn C. makes a great point, though. Different set of rules for the late Bill Walton as well. There's a few like, and I agree with this. We're like, dude, you know what Bill Walton, I mean, it is what it is.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like that dude was different and in my eyes entertaining. Some people I think, you know, weren't the biggest Bill Walton's fan. I was.
I was too.
I think that you're seeing Pat McAfee now, like he's bridging that barstool world with the professional world. Yeah. And he's like blurring the lines a little bit, which I'm not mad at. Cause like, I'll be honest. I mean, I know barstool sports. I couldn't name like any of the guys. Like I don't watch it, you know, like, I mean, even when Bortles was doing it. Yeah. Like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
I'm just
I've never
this
been
is kind of
in that world. Yeah.
Yeah. But I understand it's huge. Like, I'm not naive to the fact. But, like, I like McAfee, you know? So it's almost like it's blurring the lines a little bit and, like, making it more acceptable.
I mean, he does wear a tank top every show. I mean, he's kind of already done it in some respects.
Man. I sweat, too.
I thought me not wearing a tie for the last, like, 6 months was something groundbreaking. Hope the bosses didn't hear that. Don't wear a tie. Like, I'm way beyond the tie, please.
Yeah.
But I promise I won't go to the tank top anytime soon.
One more question.
Or the Guinness.
Glenn C. asked, who does Fox have on Big New Kickoff that remotely compares to McAfee? I mean, do you let Urban Meyer go hog wild now?
Oh.
Do you turn Urban Meyer loose?
I mean, is Gus Johnson still there?
Do you set Urban Meyer loose now on the world? Brent, you set him loose? You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It's turn him loose.
What? Lap dances
Dude,
live.
If I'm you said it, not me. You said it, not me. That's friend of the show, Urban Meyer. You're talking about, Brent. Yeah, turn him loose. Turn him loose, dude. You think Fox is even gonna hold? Listen, we love Fox, but you think Fox is gonna hold a candle to College Game Day right now? Brent, we love box here.
I got to be careful. I think.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I'll say it. I'm a freelancer. I'll say it. I'll say it all day.
Like that's the go-to. I'm a freelancer.
I'm a freelancer. I should have a little card. Don't worry. I'm a freelancer.
What's your card say?
Yep.
All right. Hey, let's take a time out. There's your college football Pat McAfee segment. Back to a little bit of the NFL and some other things to get to. You see the fight on the soccer? Austen loved it.
Hey.
Shocker.
Austin's in love.
I have some thoughts. Oh, yeah. If she would have put a cigarette in, I would have been in the DMs that night. Oh.
We'll be back. Dream 18, by the way, 3 weeks from today. We've got some spots available. Get your foursome. Come on out and play. We're going to have a ton of food out there, a lot of free stuff out there, and a lot of fun. We'll actually have our show live from there as well. I think Austin's on play-by-play. Matthew Driscoll as well is going to stop by a little play-by-play, and we'll do even more. So hopefully you can be a part of it. Coming up September 16th at the Golf Club at Southampton. Help support North Florida Junior Golf Foundation, St. Michael Soldiers, and our title sponsors for this year's Dream 18, Cadillac and Access Golf.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning. And mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back. The Brent and Austin Show. Brent I think he stepped out to get some coffee. Maybe make a play. I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe
Should we show the soccer fight?
We doing that right now? Yeah, should we wait for Brent to come back? You know what? Let's get into it. Let me go and set the scene real quick, Hamby. So obviously, you know, when I'm prepping for the show, I try to go on the interwebs and I find, like, yeah, we talk football, obviously, right? It's a Jaguars-centric sports show. Mm-hmm. But you know me, man, variety is the spice of life. And fighting trips all the triggers when it comes to what I like to watch. You know, whether it's animal fights, by the way, in case for all you animal fans out there, those animal horror videos, there's a new one where a Komodo dragon is taking down a full-size goat. And spoiler alert, if you don't know about Komodo dragons, they like swallow their prey and then they keep it in their stomach for like 3 hours.
I've seen it.
It is gnarly.
Oh, yeah.
And spoiler alert again, don't turn on the volume unless you want to have all the nightmares. Because watched a horror movie and then watched that, didn't sleep all night. Had it on my mind. Nightmares aplenty. Brent, you seen the new? There's a new animal video of a Komodo dragon going toe to toe with like a goat and digesting it for like 3 hours.
I do see a lot of animal videos. I've not seen that one.
I mean, we want to sit here and...
I saw one the other day with a big anaconda swimming in the...
That'll do it.
I got close to that. Oof.
That'll do it. Yeah, so this goat basically got paralyzed because the Komodo dragon, they have like toxic spit when they bite somebody.
Yeah.
So the goat goes down. This goat is like full-size, huge goat. And this Komodo dragon comes in and like it just keeps it in its mouth for like 3 hours till it digests.
Oh, wow, I'm watching it right now.
Dude, don't turn the volume on. You don't want to hear that volume.
Oh, so it's actually got.
It looks like it's AI. It doesn't look real.
Really?
Yeah. It's so gnarly, Brent.
Hey,
wow,
come on,
those
Hamby.
things are huge.
Come on, Hamby.
Down the hatch.
Down the hatch. But hey,
really?
Hey, but stays in the hatch for hours on end while it slowly gets digested.
Yeah.
Yikes, Brent.
So do they work the same? Is that the same way as like a python and stuff, where they'll eat something and then won't eat something else for like another month or
good question.
Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, because they go on because they eat so much.
Because that's a lot.
I assume so. I'm not sure, but like the thing with the Komodo dragon is it can like unhinge it's like a snake essentially, but then it won't chew, so it just like you're chilling in the stomach, still alive, burning.
Ugh, that's a bad way.
Burning.
Poor goat.
Right?
On top of that, he's paralyzed because of the spit.
Because the spit. Yeah, because so like the Komodo dragons come out and the goat's just like, oh, here we go. And then, like I said, don't turn the volume on.
Where do Komodo dragons
internet.
live?
I just searched Komodo dragon goats.
I'm sorry.
No, listen.
I thought you meant where do you find these videos? I'm like,
I got stuff
I
got stuff popping up on my feed on social media. Like, ever since Elon took over,
it's
I got
the Wild West,
It's amazing.
It's the Wild West.
Like I have to hide my computer. I'm like afraid what's going to show up.
Oh, here's another one.
Brent's putting the whole relationship in jeopardy with some of these things online, man.
Like, what are we watching here?
But Komodo dragons often forgot about, but
where do you find them? Where are they?
I'm gonna say the
Hopefully not
Galapagos
around
sounds good. Hey, I feel like when you have exotic animals, you drop one of those Galapagoses.
And he's like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the Galapagoses.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, no, they're not around here. Like the zoo may have one, but now in retrospect, looking at that video, if I'm the zoo, I'm putting like 2 layers of bulletproof glass between me and that thing because they don't mess around, Brent.
Here's another one. Holy
dude, Brent,
cow.
they're huge.
So the Komodo dragon's that big, huh?
God.
Huge, Brent.
Wow.
They're prehistoric looking things.
Well, they actually go back like millions of years.
Sure.
I think I just read quickly.
Take your word for that. Tell us more, Mr. Science. What else you got for us?
Maximum length of 9.8 feet.
Pretty big.
330 pounds.
That's the size of Clarence Campbell coming at you.
Everybody my age.
That's a Clarence Campbell coming at you full speed, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody my age is
prime.
all friendly because of what's that show? It's Disney show. Hey Jesse. One of the little kids had a little Komodo dragon, Mr. Kipling.
Mr. Kipling?
Yep.
Had a pet Komodo dragon?
No, that was the name of the dragon.
But he was like a pet Komodo dragon?
Yeah.
See what they're teaching these kids, Brent?
I'll have to watch this later.
But anyway, so
I don't want to watch it during the show.
We got a little sidetracked. And once again, don't turn on the volume because it's haunting. But anyways, Brent, we got a little sidetracked. We're talking about the soccer fight, and then somehow we got in Komodo dragons. But
that was related.
Oh, that was totally related. Yeah, I was setting it up, and then we just went down that rabbit hole, man. See what happens when you're not here.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but anyways,
the show gets a little bit better.
Yeah, so I like to find variety in sports topics and everything, and I put some feelers out there, and lo and behold, all of a sudden I see giant soccer fight. Must see. I'm like, okay, I mean, because
I know
it's soccer. Right, like
I thought it was going to be like a mob scene.
Yeah, but so it's a little underwhelming in terms of like giant soccer fight, but it's almost like they undersold how tenacious this girl is from Rutgers, I believe. And Hammy, we got the video here.
Yep.
So you just let's play the video first, and I'll share my comments on it.
It's on the far
earlier today as well in the first
right
half.
there on where the ball is.
Yep.
Little tackle.
Okay, a little tackle, a little cheap shot.
With Madison Richard, formerly
maybe a yellow flag.
And oh boy,
here we
we've
go.
Got fisticuffs on the far
fisticuffs,
side.
Brent. Hang on. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but guess what?
A couple of players are fighting here.
Judo throw, and then a couple right there. Boom.
And now a lot on the shoulders of this referee.
And I love this video keeps going, and now you'll later see the young lady just fix her hair.
Oh, yeah. like she's done it a million times, Brent. Like she's done it a million times.
Let me fix this.
Not the tallest girl either.
No.
Scrappy, though.
There she goes.
Here's a look at what happened.
NIL money.
Yeah, let's go for a little closer look here.
NIL money funneling her away right now.
Okay, so a little cheap shot there. It is what it is. Gets a little push.
Punches thrown in both directions.
Judo throw.
Uppercut there. And
well, I mean, that could have been a tooth that went flying. I don't know if that was a tooth or not. So, okay, a few things about this. Number one, hey, Indiana Fever. That's what should have happened when Caitlin Clark got taken down that one time. That's what should have happened. Number two, girl from Rutgers who layeth the smackdown on this poor woman. I want her on the Jake Paul undercard immediately. On the Jake Paul Tyson card, get her on the undercard because any girl that can throw a judo throw and then goes to ground and pound might be a trained assassin, Brett. Like this isn't this girl's first fight. Okay, like especially it's soccer. You know, soccer. You hear like they're flopping and everything. You know what I'm saying? They ain't no flopping here, Brent.
No,
they ain't no flopping here.
That was legit.
That was legit.
You don't usually see punches thrown in the fights like that.
Yeah. And by the way, she's giving me a little intrigue now because, I always put my hair up in a little bit of a bun so my hair doesn't get... No, from now on, if I get a knockout, the hair's staying down and I'm going to put it back in a pony because that might have been one of the most badass things I've ever seen. And shout out to Rutgers because, not a lot to celebrate sometimes because they got Rutgers, in terms of sports and everything. Well, she's putting Rutgers on the map.
She did.
Because that was legit.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
So is that throw pretty high level, though?
Yeah, if we can go one more time to the throw, Hamby, just real quick. I mean, this is your basic judo throw, which is, once again, I don't know if she just lucked into it, but you got to feel like she actually knew what she was doing here. So I'd love to know this girl's background. Not sure if she's like an MMA practitioner, jiu-jitsu or something, but the girl knows what she's doing, Brent. You'll see it right here. Okay, a little push. Instead of just
and then boom.
A nice reversal, using your opponent's momentum against them. That's judo, Brent.
She'll be in the Olympics.
That's judo right there.
4 years.
That's judo. Man, feisty. You love to see it. You love to see it. I mean, it's soccer, Brent. Like, you don't see this a lot. You know what I'm saying?
No, you really don't.
Yeah. And you know what's like so baffling to me with soccer? Like, obviously in the U.S., it's kind of whatever, right? Like, it's a secondary sport, let's be honest. During the World Cup, then we get all, patriotic. It's
growing. But
it's wild to me, like, you think of soccer and you've seen England, like, you think of soccer in Europe. Dude, it's like, it's life or death there. Like, I mean, and hooligans, I'm sure, have kind of calmed down since, like, the 90s and stuff, but, like, people fight. Like, yeah, you go to NFL games and every once in a while you'll see a fight, but, like, people fight in the streets over soccer. And it's wild how they're so passionate and fight over each other, but the game itself, there's so much flopping. There's so much just like
good point.
Finesse.
Yeah. It's way more finesse.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like if you go to a football game, hitting him and all right, I'm getting amped up.
Yeah.
But like you go to a soccer game, it's like, all right, well, this guy's flopping. There's a yellow card.
It'd be like fights at a golf match.
Exactly. Yeah, for real.
A little bit of that.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Like, I mean, like, listen, I wouldn't like want to go to a soccer game and mess with anybody because, like, those people are like they're crazy.
Right. Like the NFL, when you see like the 49ers and the Raiders fight in the stands, like it shouldn't be that surprising in a way.
Exactly.
Right? You got a bunch of former football guys that think they probably still can play.
Yeah. But when you had like 50 on 50 in the streets, like getting ready to go to a pub and they're throwing down, it's like. Over that sport.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, that's a good call. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. The Chargers. There's your Jesse.
Look at that thing.
Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did they have some that aren't?
I mean,
that don't spit toxins?
Hamby, is this CGI or is that actually a real Komodo? That's CGI.
Well, yeah. This.
But I'm saying in the show was
in
the Komodo dragon.
It was real.
And it was big?
Yeah. But not as big as the one that we just watched a while ago.
That was a dinosaur.
Yeah, it wore like costumes and stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had no
Did
idea.
You watch this show, Hamby?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I was
still
7.
watches it.
He still watches.
Still on the queue. It's all good though.
It's no problem.
It's all good.
Jesse, what else
I
did you
never heard
watch
of
as
it.
a kid? Like,
I was
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
I was big Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers was my start. I remember Power Rangers.
But when you say Power Rangers, like what rendition of the Power Rangers was it?
Okay, and that's when I'm going to go to my next show.
Okay.
And my next show
Gotcha.
is Pair of Kings.
Pair of Kings.
Mitchell Musso.
Never heard it.
Just saying names that we've never. Yeah.
Intentional Talk.
Right?
Never heard of it.
Chris Rose, Kevin Millar.
Oh, MLB Network.
Oh, okay. Jeez, man.
I know you went to MLB Network.
Okay.
Here's my favorite show.
How about, were you watching like Miley Cyrus Disney days?
No.
Hannah Montana?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't
No?
a big Hannah
How
Montana.
about the Wiggles?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I had
You were a Wiggles guy.
Yeah, I had.
Well, he's into music. You got to be a Wiggles guy.
My kids were in the Wiggles
Really?
stage. So
I'm glad I avoided that.
Oh, my
Hamby's
parents-
only like 4 years older than the kids.
I'm glad I avoided
My
that.
parents would kill me. I had the microphone that if you hit play, it played the Wiggles song.
Fruit salad one?
Oh yeah,
Fruit salad.
I'm so happy I avoided the Wiggles.
Oh,
Ronan
yeah,
never
you
got into the
would've been
Wiggles.
happy.
Yeah, but
That would have been a tough little dynamic with you because Ronan would have loved the
No,
Wiggles. and
listen.
you'd have been
I
like, what are
still
we
served
doing
my
here?
time. I still earned my stripes. I had to sit through Paw Patrol and Blippi. So I don't want to hear that I didn't earn my time. All right, I earned it, Brent.
Paw Patrol's still a thing, right?
Oh, Paw Patrol's doing their thing, Brent. You know what I'm saying?
What's the other one? Blippy?
Well, yeah, Blippi. Paw Patrol, now they have spinoffs. Rubble, the French Bulldog, he's got his own show now. Rubble's doing his thing by himself. Dude went solo.
Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. See, that was a little
Twins.
after me, but I remember it, though. I remember that one.
That was me. That was me.
And but Blippi was just this crazy guy who wore, like, colorful outfits and made crazy sounds.
Are you a little surprised that they haven't, like, so many things are cyclical, right? Like Family Feud's on all the time, you know, and all those kind of things. Do you surprise like
great
something
answer.
like Scooby-Doo hasn't come back? Because Scooby feels like you could last the test of time over generations and maybe even go a little more high-tech with some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, Scooby's still cool.
Dude, I love Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo's cool.
dude.
I grew up
Right?
on Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
How often
Looney
do we
Tunes.
see-
But see?
How often do we see dudes in locker
those
rooms
things.
now doing their best Shaggy impersonations?
That's what I'm
I
saying.
See,
I
I
just
see it
don't
on
know-
Twitter like every month.
So, like, maybe it is a little bit cyclical, but it doesn't feel like it's a kid thing. Like, I don't feel like 5, 6, 7-year-old kids are watching it.
No, well, see, and without getting too political
I don't
about
know.
everything, Brent, without getting too political, I feel like now, like, you have to cater to all the audiences. So, like, you know, Scooby-Doo, diversity wasn't a thing. It's sad I'm saying it, but I'm being honest. Like,
that's a good point.
I feel
it
like,
wasn't. Really, no show was.
No show was. But like, it didn't bother me when I was a kid. But
Yeah.
like now, I think
You're right.
And then there's the reason I say that, because they try to do a new Scooby Doo, and they replace the characters with like different ethnicities, and guess how that went?
So they did try to do it.
They tried to once again with different ethnicities, and guess how that went? There you go. Yeah. Didn't work
you
out
can't.
well.
Like, I mean, maybe you can. Maybe some of it does work to modernize.
Yeah.
But
you're seeing the updated Scooby Doo?
Oh, did you watch Proud Family?
Of course, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Proud Family was good.
I'm in there.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I like the Proud Family.
I appreciate that.
appreciate Proud Family. I've never heard of that stuff.
Proud Family was good.
Kim Possible. I appreciate that.
That's all good. Yeah, I was a little past my prime in that.
Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, and Jason Hamby.
Do you want to hear one quick story with my son this weekend?
Yeah.
What he's into now?
Absolutely.
So he's got
stories.
So he's got like the modern pair of shades that people are like these kids are wearing now. Like they're like Brett the Hitman Hart glasses.
Yes, I know you're talking.
He's got them in pink. I don't think he's ever worn them in here before.
what are
but
those
now he makes it a habit of wearing them like wherever we go.
Inside too.
Inside too. So
Marcel Robinson special.
Yeah, correct. So Saturday we go to a restaurant like on the beach or whatever, and I made the mistake of saying, dude, you look like the guy from CSI when he puts the glasses on. And he had no idea what I was referring to. So then I showed him a clip of like, Horatio from CSI where it's like he makes a smart comment and he puts his glasses on. It's like super cheesy. So Ronan started doing that the entire time at dinner where he would go like, it's going to be a 20-minute wait, huh? He goes, man, 20-minute wait. And then he goes, I guess it's going to be a dining for none, and then puts his shades on and then walks out the door and then comes back laughing. I'm like, so he did that the entire dinner where he would just have like one like quips like, oh, he's like, should have got the nachos. Guess it's not my like nacho problem, and puts the glasses back on. I'm like, dude, what are you like? And he thinks like he's like the funniest. Like I laughed once at it, and then when you laugh once,
You're done.
that's all he needs. Then he's doing it the entire time.
You're encouraging.
But this dude's like doing it in front of the waitress and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing?
He is not shy.
He's not shy at all, man.
Yeah.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that was a fun ththing from the weekend.
I'm assuming you weren't shy.
As a kid?
Yeah.
Shyer than you expect.
Really?
Yeah. So like because like this was the whole thing. Like, like for instance, like in Horatio, he'll go like, "Oh, this was a divorcee was stabbed 25 times." Well, you know what they say. Divorce is the real killer. And then he puts like the glasses on.
It's got like the Jim Nance line.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, but my son was doing this at the restaurant, just like random things the entire time.
That's
great. Ridiculous. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, the Chargers got stuck in an elevator for 2 hours.
You hate to see it, Brent.
It kind of reminded you of us to bring back some old wounds.
It did, yeah. So this one was crazy though, because the entire team, I feel, or like a good part of the team got stuck in the elevator. Do we know how long they were trapped for?
I think it said 2 hours.
2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I saw Jim Harbaugh like almost in tears saying how good.
Come on.
The leadership of Justin Herbert in the situation. Funny. What are we doing? But
they were 2 hours. Apparently, had to be like yanked out of there. Eventually, they got to him.
Yep.
So that's not cool.
No, it's not cool at all. But it did bring me back, and I can't remember if I've shared this story before or not. But when Kansas City, when we're at Southwest Missouri State Technical, whatever college that we were staying at, in the dorms. And obviously we had elevators to get to the cafeteria and everything. And there was a player by the name of Dontari Poe, who I think at the time might have been a 7-year, 8-year guy. It was him, and then it was, because they have like assistant coaches come through from the colleges sometimes to help out a little bit. Yeah. I can't remember, I want to say this guy might have been like West Virginia or something, but he was Hawaiian, but he was a big dude. Hawaiian dude. Great guy, player friendly, just there to kind of learn and take everything in. So he was like an assistant. And when we're at lunch, we heard the rumors that Dontari and this guy got caught in the elevator. We know how long, we know the extent of whatever. And so because Dontari was defensive lineman, so he's sitting with us. I'm like, dude, what happened? Like, get caught. He's like, oh yeah, man, ain't a big deal. Like the elevator stopped for like an hour or so. Like, yeah, it was scary, but not really a big deal. It is what it is. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, sounds good. Like, cool. So we go to the team meeting after dinner then, and Andy Reid is in front and center. And it's different because usually Andy Reid doesn't have stuff to say. Usually just, all right, let's get to the video, let's watch it. But
just gets right to it.
But you can tell Andy Reid's giddy for some reason when we're walking in. So
it wasn't cheeseburgers.
No. So we're walking in and everything. We sit down, And Andy Reid essentially just goes like, so by my understanding, there was an incident today. And, we're all like, okay, here comes the elevator thing. And Andy Reid goes, Dontar, are you okay? And Dontar's like, yeah, man, this is what it is. Get caught in the elevator a little bit. It's not a big deal. And then he asked the coach, I forgot the coach's name, but you okay? And coach was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Like, we were stuck there. We did what we did. Andy Reid goes, interesting. Because we had the security footage here, and you guys did not look okay. So what had happened was that there's obviously cameras in the elevator. Yeah. Andy Reid, and just the sheer genius that he is, I guess went to the security people, got that footage, and then played it for the team. Now, here's what happened, because it's like an hour, but like it's like sped up and everything, and it was edited. So like the Chiefs the media people like edited this thing. Coming. So like the first 10 minutes, you just see like there's chilling there, and then all of a sudden, you see Dontari like freak out, take his shirt off, and start like there's praying, but then he was like pacing, and then he was sitting in the corner like going like this, like he was like gonna puke and hyperventilate, and then you see the assistant coach just kind of go like trying to calm him down. So like the whole time, Dontari was saying like, yeah, it wasn't a big deal. Oh, dude. So they fast forward like 30 to 40 more minutes, and Dontari sold his shirt off, by the way, defensive tackle, so showing a lot. His shirt off is like trying to pry open, and like you can see him like screaming. Insane.
He almost lost it.
Oh, he did lose it. Like he like freaked out. And then finally, like they see like the hands come in, like pull them out and everything. But it was so funny the fact that the Dontari's like, yeah, it wasn't really a big deal.
I needed a crane.
To a guy that takes off his shirt and like starts praying and everything.
Wild.
Man! And believe me when I say like the entire room was just on the floor,
were they really?
dying. And then Dontari just had that face, just like, kind of like, what are you gonna say?
Dontari Poe is like 320 pounds.
He's huge.
I don't think anybody's going to say it to his face a little later. Right? Like, I mean, you can laugh about it 12 years later.
Yeah, for sure. No, he was a big dude.
He was a big guy.
But like, and just a quiet, just kind of kept to himself.
Good player, too.
Yeah, a great player. But to see him in that instance where it's just like, because you can tell like he's sweating and he's like wiping the sweat off, and he's just,
That doesn't surprise me. I wondered, I've thought about that because you hear a little like jarring or something. You're like, again, from claustrophobic to, okay, what now? Mm-hmm. I can see why people freak out in those situations.
Yeah.
Like, you can be calm for a little bit. Like, maybe he was for a little, but after a while, you're like, how long am I going to be in here?
No, for sure. And I'm sure time just slow. It's like almost like,
oh my gosh. Yeah,
I mean, like,
felt like 8.
Yeah. I mean, you imagine like when you do like a plank, how time just slows down a little bit when you're doing a plank or something.
Good comparison.
Yeah, well, imagine like in the elevator for that long.
30 seconds is so long.
Oh, dude, when I'm doing a plank and I set it for a minute and I look down, I'm like, it's been 5 seconds. And I'm dying.
That is so true.
Yeah. No, I always say there's 2 things that take the longest like in time. It's holding a plank, and it's waiting for like when you put conditioner on your hair for like the minute that you're supposed to put the conditioner on for a minute. It's never a minute. You know what I'm saying? You probably don't use conditioner, Brent. But Hamby, you got me? No? Hamby, you ain't gonna relate to this?
Hamby's face is what I was thinking.
Take care of your hair, dude. Yeah. I'm gonna say you guys have no idea. Do you guys not use conditioner?
I do, but okay, wait a minute. That's for
you gotta wait a minute. You gotta wait a minute, boys.
I use shampoo or conditioner, whatever's available, and I don't use both.
I use that 10-in-1, baby.
You guys are just damaging your hair. Taking all the essential oils out of your hair, gentlemen.
Bro, I don't got time for all that. We're using that 15.
I'm telling you, read the bottle. It says keep that conditioner on at least a minute. And believe me when I say you don't set timers for a minute with the hair conditioner.
No.
You guys are out of your minds.
I mean, and of all the things you've said in 6 years of being around you on this stuff,
you don't think so? Huh?
I didn't know was coming out of your mouth.
Oh, the conditioner?
Dude, the plank and conditioner test is in the same one.
Mark
and I'm
my
not
words.
talking about conditioning, talking about conditioner.
Mark my words. Anybody who puts that conditioner in their hair for a minute knows how long it takes. Now, you guys are animals.
Bro, we're not questioning
you guys are cavemen.
That the minute takes long. We're questioning that you put conditioner in your hair and care to wait.
Dude, but with these bad boys, you got to put that conditioner in there. You got to put that conditioner with these bad boys.
I mean, this is twice in the last 15 minutes he's mentioned he's gone to the hair.
Yeah.
Conditioner, and also now he's going to knock out hair flip.
The hair flip, man. Yeah, dude. If you got it, rock it.
You got it. That's right.
So, but just so we're clear, though, you guys don't leave the conditioner in for a minute?
No.
Okay.
No. Never.
All right.
I didn't know.
Good luck with that.
But hey, thanks for the education.
No, you're fine.
I'll ask
Good luck
Steph
with
if
that.
she does.
Good luck with that.
You floss every day?
No.
Okay.
No. I have a permanent retainer in my bottom teeth. I can't.
No problem.
Just
That's a great excuse.
yeah. No, that's
No, I just go like I went to the dentist like 3 weeks ago. I'm gonna go. Now I have to go for like 4 times this fall.
yeah.
And I just like own up to it. I'm like,
I use mouthwash.
No, I don't.
That's about.
but they were like, hey, how much do you brush your teeth? I was like proud of this moment, and they couldn't even finish the sentence. I was like, I like 3 times a day.
Yeah.
But now the floss.
Do you really, Brent? You brush 3 times a day?
Well, I do brush a lot because I drink so much coffee and I don't like the taste.
Yeah, I
that's
gotcha.
part of the reason.
Yep.
But I actually do brush a lot, but I don't floss as much as I should. Therefore, I'll be stuck at the dentist's office.
I haven't flossed. I mean, probably since like 7th grade. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't flossed in a minute. Like I use the mouthwash, you know, and everything, but flossing?
Oh no, I got some time due at the dentist coming up this fall.
Don't sit here and tell me. You and Hamby, don't sit here and tell me you can't take a minute to, put that conditioner in your hair and let it, smooth everything out a little bit, but you guys gonna be flossing.
I'm not flossing.
Okay, good.
Good. It's like a badge of honor.
Yeah, don't
floss.
accuse me.
Oh, I don't floss.
Yeah. By the way, hopefully we have a dental endorsement coming up here soon. Then
Please.
we'll be
Oh,
flossing.
we're all gonna be flossing. Give me flossing on the stream. Yeah.
I'll need a dental endorsement after my fall.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Everyone's
By the
saying
way,
floss every day. I'm sorry, man. I don't.
Yeah. Who does?
I mean,
I feel like when you get older, you actually do. One,
Really?
because you probably got to take care of it. 2, because you have more stuff stuck in your teeth.
Yeah.
And 3, you have more time on your hands.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I wonder what age that you actually start flossing on average.
Oh, man.
Because there are some people that are probably like very teeth
Oh, yeah.
like wary,
Conscious.
and
Yeah,
conscious. They have a better word. And but most people aren't.
No.
Like to that degree.
Not at all, man.
Right?
The dentist wasn't a thing until, I don't know, maybe 50 years ago.
Is that true?
I don't know. Bro, if you had a toothache, all right, see ya.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
move
back in the old
on.
days. Yeah. Just deal with it.
We're making up all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Fluoride. Yeah. Like
You know
that
what's
existed
crazy
more
about
than
going to
20
the
years
dentist?
ago.
Seriously, I was at the dentist and I'm going to be there quite a bit. But what's wild about the dentist is when you haven't gone in a while and you put it off and you put it off and you put it off and you go back,
Yeah.
you're like, holy cow, the technology is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Dude,
now?
I took my son there. They got TVs in the ceiling. Dude doesn't even notice like he's got a cavity filled. Doesn't even notice it's going on.
No kidding.
Me, it's like, dude, I'm in a dungeon and like it's like Saw, and I'm like, all right, well, here comes the Novocaine. Oh, can I have a distraction? No, you can't. Here, watch that needle go right into that gum. Cool.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but my son's watching like cartoons and
I'll give you another one.
It's over.
A few years back, what stunned me, I had never had a root canal and I had to have one. And it was not anywhere as bad as everybody said it was
Really?
going to be. Now, the only thing is that needle is huge. So you might want to close your eyes. The needle was massive, but it did not. Now, I don't know if it's just different for other people, but it didn't hurt. Like, I don't know if it's just because they numb you better or whatever, or there's even advancement there. But you always heard like root canals like the worst thing, right?
What is a root canal actually? Because I've never had one. Like, what? How do you get? Like, what do you have to do to? Like, why do you have to get one?
You don't floss.
Let me think.
You don't floss.
Well, there is a little bit. I think it's got to do with the nerves.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, don't worry, man. Sounds like a pyramid scheme. I don't know. I paid like $20,000 for it, but I don't know.
I don't know.
It's for infections in tooth pulp, the innermost layer of your teeth. So if you have an infection.
Like that where the nerve and the bone kind of meet up.
Brent, just stop trying.
Brent just
I actually had. I got.
Brent just got caught for $50,000.
So a year ago, I went to the dentist, and because my tooth was hurting.
Yeah.
And so he thought that I need a root canal. Mm-hmm. So he sent me to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And he's like, now listen, you also need a cleaning, so come back.
Yeah.
Well, I did. Like, it just took me a year. I just went like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But when I went to this was like one of the greatest days of the last 5 years. I go to the guy at the root canal, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to get one. And he's like, nah, you're good. You don't need it. And I was like, huh. I feel like you just like
score. Yeah. Wash your hands on it. Yeah. Shawshank Redemption.
Like,
just let the rain cleanse over you.
Great.
Yeah.
But yeah, the root canal was not. I don't know, man. About the root canal.
The way you make the root canal sound, it sounds like you went to like a cheap mechanic and they're like, oh yeah, you got to get this done. This rotary thing in the engine needs fixing.
No, I do wonder.
Root canal.
I kind of pat myself on the back sometimes. I think I have a better pain tolerance than you would think I would have.
Okay. No,
because
I
even
think
the
you're
dentist people are like, hey, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm like, it didn't hurt.
Oh, wow.
Like, didn't hurt. Like, doesn't hurt.
Sounds like someone's ready for his first tattoo, everybody.
I wonder how I'd be on that. No.
Yep. Let's go right to the ribs. Let's go.
Right to the ribs. That's the hard spot.
People say it's the hard spot.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad for me. The spine was my hard spot.
Do you have a good pain tolerance?
I think so.
I would give it your background.
I think so.
I would hope.
Yeah, I think so.
How about you, Hamby?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really broken anything too bad, but I mean, I've had some substantial injuries I've played through. I mean, I don't claim to have, an insane tolerance, but I think it's better than average.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst thing for me was playing with my Liz Frank the whole year.
Yeah, that's got to be hard.
Yeah, because I had to learn how to walk again after the season.
Really?
Yeah.
That much?
Stupid. Yeah.
I had chronic migraines for like 3 years in elementary school, and I feel like that taught me pretty well because I just had to go about my day.
Yeah.
Like nothing was happening.
I'll tell you, I feel like I have a good pain tolerance until it comes to a paper cut.
No, I feel like the
Sons of guns hurt, man.
You always see those memes that are like for athletes, just like, pushing through a gym workout with a bum shoulder or whatever, but as soon as you get a runny nose, it's over. I'm like, that's kind of true.
It is true.
Like, I'm
true.
cool.
Yeah.
And then I get a runny nose, I'm like, man, it's so nice to breathe.
I know.
Literally.
I start sneezing and stuff. It's like the worst day of my life.
Yeah.
It knocks me out for 3 days. I had like a tumor in my foot I had for 7 years, and I didn't before I took it out. Like, serious, I did.
You had a tumor?
Yeah, it was like a benign tumor in my foot. I had to get it out.
Really?
But for like 7 years, I had like this pain sometimes when I would walk.
Top of your foot or bottom of your foot?
Bottom.
Dang.
Right between like right near the the pinky toe and the other toe.
Wow. I didn't know you could
I
get
didn't even know it
there.
either.
Yeah.
But I went to the foot doctor and they did surgery to take it out.
Yeah. Were you juicing in college or something? What did you getting tumors for, Brent?
No, I wish I did. You did not hear that.
No. Come on.
Sorry.
We have kids listening, Brent.
Hey, works for McAfee.
No, they're in school. If the kids are home today, you probably got in trouble, so you can hear this.
That's a good point.
Yeah, should be
Haley's
at school
in class,
by now.
our first ever college class right now.
How'd it go, by the way, before we get into sports topics for all over the place? But
we are
kids got all moved in and everything. We're good to go?
Moved in. Mom did a good job.
Cool.
We went down and visited Saturday and Sunday. They forgot.
Can't let them breathe.
Well, I hadn't seen them.
Oh, I know.
I had to go see the room.
Yeah.
But we were literally there for like an hour. We didn't bother them much.
Well, Brent, did you vet the roommates?
No. Well, I mean, I know Ty's roommate from ball. And,
okay, so you know him.
Met Kaylee's roommates.
Brent,
one's from Kansas, one's from Georgia.
You got to vet these roommates. Make sure, Brent.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I can't control anything. It feels like, seriously feels like the kids are at like camp.
Yeah.
So I think it's got to take a couple of weeks. Steph did pretty well, though. I thought it'd be a little tougher.
Show it together?
Yeah, she did great.
Good for her.
She said it was kind of a hectic day since she had to do it all herself.
She's probably a little more pissed than anything, huh? Didn't have time to cry.
That's right.
Just, tense the whole time.
Yeah.
She was making sure that you knew everything that she had to do.
Yeah, she did a good job. I do think it's a little bit, of course, they're within an hour, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be a little harder if they're like 10 hours away.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like where you went, same, both of our situations where we went farther away.
But also, I'm sure my mom was kind of like, yeah. Let me get a little breath here for
As I told my mom, I was like, yeah. She's like, well, are they coming home this weekend for Labor Day week? I was like, I hope not. She's like, well, you got over that quick.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't get the whole coming back for just stay there. Get used to it. But a lot of them come back, so maybe they will come back.
A lot of kids do come back.
All right, we are way late on timeout, but we got a lot of football to get to. I've got did ask the question again, by the way. Didn't get the answer on the play calling.
Oh, I didn't hear this one.
But I wanted to ask you guys this. Now coming off what they've done in the preseason, do you think there's more confidence in Press Taylor than there was a month ago, given the play of Trevor, given the look of the offense, given the play of Mac Jones and what they've been able to do? So let's go there when we come back. Plus, we've got some interviews, including Brian Thomas Jr. from the other night, as we were the only station there in Atlanta. And we have After the Game coming up tomorrow. We are getting set to tape a whole bunch of new episodes. But if you missed any of them, we'll have it for you Tuesday and Friday at 2 o'clock, plus expanded high school football coverage coming up on Friday on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. Your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC. We are professional grade.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if you were going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJax.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, get a free A200 Connecticut reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Oh man, it is that time. I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, you know, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out GWOutdoorLiving.com for your free estimate.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're gonna love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations, Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right, there's the Jags schedule. Starts with the Miami Dolphins on CBS 47, 1 o'clock on September 8th, and here we go. Ready for that season. Once again, if you're just jumping in, Bradley Chubb will not play in that game. He's on the PUP list. Nick Chubb for the Browns won't play in that game. He's on the PUP list. Milano, the linebacker, very good, underrated player for the Bills. He's out for the year. For Buffalo, and the Texans don't have Autry the first 6 games, I think it is, because of suspension. So the Jags getting a little bit of a break in those areas. One thing, speaking of suspensions, we got surprised to see Zay Jones suspended 5 games. Did the Jags know about that? Was that part of the decision-making, do you think, when they released him?
Yeah. I mean, let me ask you this. You think it, and I don't know how this works in the NFL, if the Jaguars somehow did know and they just kind of, pawned him off, don't you have to kind of report that or not?
I don't think so. I think, first of all, they let him go. So they didn't trade him.
Okay, true. Yeah, you're right.
Trade-wise, they might. But I don't know why you can't bamboozle a team if you think. They got to do their homework, right? So
yeah, okay.
I know. Now, that might not be good business. You might never do anything with the team again. And I'm not telling you that the Jags knew that he was going to get 5 games. I do wonder if the Jags knew that the NFL had formed were looking into it. Like that, they would know that, I believe.
Yeah.
And know that maybe he's going to get something. I was a little surprised that he got 5 games based on the fact that the charges got dropped, but it also indicates to me that maybe there was more to that story for Zay Jones, or is it because he's also been a violator of some league rules in the past, right? What was it that he got suspended for in the past? Do you remember, Hamby? You had confirmed this with me during a break, I thought. But
say that one more time.
Didn't Zay Jones get suspended in the past?
Yes.
But it wasn't for anything domestic.
No.
Okay.
Do you, because I forgot how this all played out. They got Gabe Davis first, correct? And then they like Zay Jones.
Because I remember we were doing a show at UNF at tennis.
That's
the day that happened.
That's right. Okay.
And I was like, hey, I don't know. I was surprised. And you were like, hey, he's here to replace. He is Zay Jones. Gabe Davis is Zay Jones.
Yeah.
Like that was your view. And I'm not saying
that's right.
For me, though, I was like, okay, but do you have to do that? Like the depth, you needed all the depth. And I don't know how they felt about all of it. I just wonder if the tea leaves add up to
they saw what was going to happen.
They were trying to upgrade anyway with Gabe Davis. But 2, maybe they saw some writing on the wall that they could run into a little bit of a pickle here.
Sure. Yeah.
So, anyways, Zay Jones suspended for 5 games.
And I saw Arden Key won his appeal too.
Won.
Right?
Now, how often does that happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Because I don't know if I remember seeing that.
So, with the Arden Key situation, it was PEDs, correct? Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe there was something wrong in terms of like how the test was handled. They didn't follow the proper protocols. Maybe it was tainted.
Maybe tainted test.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or maybe something came off the list.
Maybe that
was associated with it. Or
did
he just fight his case very well?
I mean,
but it doesn't seem like people have said multiple things about over the years, like, oh, I didn't do this. I had this because of allergy stuff, or I did this because of this. Or,
I never recall a guy appealing the PEDs and actually winning it.
Yeah. But it'll be. So that one actually, we thought that one would have impacted the Jags, I don't think, anyway, because they play the Titans later on.
Sure.
But he is back. I do wonder if the Jags saw this coming with
Zay Jones
or not. And my guess is to some degree. Now, again, I don't know how you would know it would be 5 games, but I think maybe they knew something was coming. I don't think that's why the move was made, though. I don't believe that. I think that's maybe a little bit part of the domino effect. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby on a Monday. It's been pretty wild. Jags trade Trevis Gipson. That's been the big story of the day. What does that mean for their depth? What does that mean for potentially going to acquire somebody else? We don't know. I think they're going to go with the development stuff. I think they're stuck on the development stuff. Maybe too much focus in this case on the development stuff. I don't see them bringing anybody else in, Austin, but now I believe you got to really watch the waiver wire for the next couple of days and see who gets released, because there could be someone that catches the eye of the Jags in that regard.
Yeah, of course. Whether, it's a vet or a young guy, like there's always going to be players on the waiver wire. Now, granted, you always and you see this every single year, I feel like, with any team, where a well-known guy's on the waiver wire, and then it's like, oh, let's go get he's better than what we got. And it's like, yeah, he may be better or he may be more of a household name, but like coaches love their guys. Like coaches want their guys that they went through training camp with, that they can keep on developing. Like coaches lean towards that more than just that household name.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be, I think we get wrapped in names, and that's why this development stuff might play a bigger role and trying to create a name instead. Good morning, by the way. Who is that?
Big Nuke Dog, 1986.
There you go.
Oh, Big Nuke Dog, 1986. I mean, I assume you're born in 86. I'm 87, so we're close to the same age.
There you go.
Please don't call me Mr., man. That was my grandfather. Just refer to me as Austin, please. But
You
thank
can
you.
call me Mister.
You can call Brent Mr.
I sure hope Trevor has an MVP type season. I drafted him in my fantasy league. Oh, we talked about that today, too. I mean, Trevor looked as good as you could look in that preseason game.
Yep.
It wasn't that they were playing others. It was more, I think I love the fact that he was under center some, the play action. Brian Thomas continues to make a play every game, which is a good sign. And then Trevor was throwing darts.
Yep.
And by the way, Mac Jones is throwing darts, and that's the last Mac Jones we're going to see, but I thought he was throwing darts as well. And continues to do so in the preseason.
Brent, you're on the sidelines. You know, I saw like the overhead shot, but how big did Kyle Pitts look to you?
I'm not sure I even saw him.
Well, that's a mistake.
Why didn't they play Michael Penix? I'm still confused about that.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Why
did they pick him? Why did they
not
play
the coach.
him?
That's not what they do. That's not because this Raheem Morris. By the way, did you see Raheem Morris and the Jaguars?
I did see that.
We're not taking anything seriously,
Who
are we?
knew if we were going in the Jags huddle whether he was going to go pick out Trammell of all
Yeah, but we're just we're just having a good old time during a preseason game, like zero thing. And I get it, like okay, but you also got beat by a lot. I don't know. It was weird to see. I mean, I get keeping it like loose and kind-hearted, but it's still a game. I feel like you still got to be focused and everything. But I forgot what was I even talking about. What was it?
Kyle Pitts.
Oh yeah, Kyle Pitts. Yeah, man. I mean, the least you could have did was like give me a little behind
research.
this. You could have helped me. Just give me a little fix, Brent. Just kind of hold me over till I draft him.
I should have thought about that.
Shame on you.
It's funny when those guys. I don't really think about the other team at all in the preseason.
No,
just because it's really. It's almost like whatever about them. Now, it was a little different with Bucks because they were in town, so those practices built up to it. So I just put this question out here. And do you guys have more confidence now, or I don't know where you were on the confidence meter anyway, with Press Taylor as the play caller? I asked Doug again on Friday night, and I put it to him like this: is Press going to call plays in the regular season?
I like it, Brent.
And he said... He actually surprised me a little bit with the answer. He was like, oh, we still have a couple more. He kind of was like, yeah, and then we have a couple more weeks to figure that out.
Was this when you asked him at halftime?
No, I didn't ask him.
I didn't ask him about after.
I asked him after. Live on our Jaguars postgame.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. And so I did ask him, but he didn't. I thought he might give me a little bit more in that sense. Like, I felt by this point, they're coming off 31-0. They've looked really good. It's maybe easy just to be like, yeah. And by the way, there was no other media there. So it might have been a great time to be able to just like, yeah.
Hey, Doug, just me and you hanging out. No one else is here.
Sorry.
What have you got?
But I was a little surprised that he kind of just kept he is just swinging that door open on it, and he won't. It's just so quick. He doesn't want to say it. I don't know if he's going to publicly say it. I don't know if he's publicly going to answer the question. This might be an open-ended. Like my vision is maybe on Wednesday of game week, next Wednesday, he'll be asked it and say it. But I'm not convinced he will.
Yeah, we'll see. We got a couple more days. You're going to ask him to the pregame show. We'll see. We got a couple hours to figure this out. Like, no, I'm with you. But the question is how confident I am now.
Yeah.
Assuming that Press Taylor's going to call the plays.
Listen,
right?
Press Taylor was talked about a lot last year. This has been a huge offseason topic, even though we know by now where it's trended, right? I mean, I got to ask the question just to get an answer.
I mean, Brent, you started. You got to see this whole thing through.
But we know where it is. Press Taylor is there. He's down on the sideline. He's calling plays. It's a collaborative thing. We can all say that, and that's probably how Doug will eventually answer it. But they looked pretty good on offense. And again, it wasn't just Trevor. It's when Mac was in, even early on when CJ was in, their offense looks like it's operating pretty well in what they're trying to accomplish, no matter who's on the field. Do you think right now, as we sit going into the season, people are more confident in Press Taylor?
I mean, I think that's fair to say. You know how I feel about it, though. I mean, I think Doug Peterson gives you the best chance to win because he has the Super Bowl to back it up. And to me, on a resume, that's everything. but maybe even more so than trusting in Doug Peterson, I trust in Trevor Lawrence. And I think we can sit here and say, and we may never know, maybe until the documentary comes out one day, but right now we don't know. But I would assume that Trevor Lawrence has some input in terms of what he's going to hear in the headset, in his helmet. And if that's the case and Trevor wants press, then you know what? I trust Trevor Lawrence because you're paying him that much money. You made him your franchise quarterback. The least we can do now is say, Trevor, we trust you.
Yeah, they're certainly not pivoting from that relationship, right? Hamby, do you trust him a little bit more? Do you feel good about him? Is it a non-story? Like, have we gone from the story to a non-story?
I feel like a little bit, yeah. I mean, the story has lost a little bit of heat. I think for most fans, seeing what we've done in the preseason has almost, I feel like, subconsciously silenced some of the worries and the concerns because we've just been very efficient. 26 points, 20 points, 31 points, in control of the clock. Everything's looked, we've been converting on some of the the third and one, fourth and ones. BTJ's had a catch in every game. Even like all of these little things add up, I think, to the group think of we have subtly more confidence because there was not one single glaring issue over the whole preseason over the offense. Now, yes, we can talk about the offensive line in the run game. However, that's not a press thing. Everything else, and if you do want to count it, everything else was checked off. So I think, yeah, it's almost this subconscious of we're comfortable more now so than we were then.
Yeah, I think that part is a little bit. That's a good way to put it. There's the subconscious of that underbelly of play calling. It's not even who now. It's right now. Mm-hmm. Play calling isn't a loud topic. Mm-hmm. I do think Doug made it a topic. Like this isn't.
Well, and it's going to be if the offense doesn't look good.
Well,
and that'll be the topic.
But it's one of those deals where it's not a topic until it's a topic.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's just based on. I mean, that's where everybody's going to go first, right? Everybody's going to press, and he's just. You're not going to avoid it. It was like last year you get to the point where it's everybody goes to Luke Fortner. The whole problem, right? You just get, whether it's right or wrong, you get to that point where everybody goes to the well and the same well when things go wrong. So the way to squash that is things go right. And right now it feels like things are going right.
Were you surprised? I'm speaking of Luke Fortner, I think it was Phil Rauscher that came out and said that he's going to be playing in meaningful reps and meaningful games this year for us? Like, were you a little surprised? I mean, and listen, we all understand the narrative of you have to build up your guys, right? You have to have your guys' backs and everything, and I get that, but it almost seemed like Rauscher went above and beyond with those comments.
There is a thought process.
We've done that before on the show.
And what?
When a coach has said, when Doug did it, when talks about Luke, we had the same exact question. We know he's got to back him up, but didn't he go above and beyond and talk like he's like actually, a good football player, just hasn't quite shown it? And that's exactly what happened.
There's a thought process, I think, and this is going to be interesting to see, but this development might hit a whole new level where they take some guys off the field at times and put the young guys in. Now, I don't know if that's the case on the offensive line.
Brent?
But
we're having a great day. We're having a great. Thank you, Hamby. We're having a great day. Great preseason game to close the things out. All right, Trevor's looking great. Okay, yeah, Trevis Gipson. We'll see what happens there. A little leery about that, but everything was going great. We had a great show today. Now we're going to rotate offensive linemen?
I don't know about that part, but I do think what you see on the defensive front of getting the Mason Smiths and maybe now the Coles or the Colemans, like I know that's more common on the defensive front.
Extremely common.
But I also think I think Christian Kirk's going to come out of the game sometimes. Parker Washington's going to go into maybe.
That's fine.
That's okay.
We can do that because, speed and different things.
Will a guy like Foye come off the field in favor of Chad Muma playing a little bit more?
I mean, you can rotate defensive guys in every once in a while, depending on the blitzes and the looks. Okay.
So is that what he meant, though,
with
by
offensive line
stuff?
Brent, sleeping Oh, what's this? I'm having a bad dream, hitting the panic button. I'm sleeping and hitting the panic button at the same time. This is uncalled. I swear, if we're talking about rotating offensive line during the game, I'll be sleeping and I'll be in my dreams hitting the panic button.
And nightmares.
Yeah, nightmares. Thank you. Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And the question is, does he play at center or guard? Because they've obviously...
Can you imagine?
You're the one that asked me the question.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to picture. I'm trying to picture sitting in that press box for not week one. Whenever they come back to Jacksonville in September, I'm sitting picturing the press box. The first drive of the game, Jaguars are rolling, and I see 3 offensive linemen come out and 3 more go in, and I'm just like, "What the hell are we doing?"
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't see that. Now, was he so adamant in his comments because he knows somebody's going to get hurt? But that's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like, to say we will play shows me that.
And again, like,
does he play as an extra, like a tight end? Is that what he's talking about? Like, because Cole Van Lanen might play that role a little bit.
You can see Walker Little playing that role more than he.
Yeah.
I don't know, Brent.
I don't know either.
And listen, I'm all for building your guy. I get it. I get the coach speak. I get giving your guy confidence. But then to sit there and say, oh, by the way, this guy's going to be playing meaningful games down the line. And okay.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. But I'll tell you this, man. I'll say this about Fortner. And maybe they're right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I know everybody's down on Fortner. But doesn't it feel like they're taking responsibility, which you don't often see? They're taking responsibility like, hey, we picked him. We drafted him.
Yeah.
We haven't developed him enough, but we still believe in him. Like, we've got to do a better job.
Yeah.
Like, that's the vibe I get with the Fortner stuff. The going back to Doug from the combine on Fortner, going the all-off season on Fortner. We haven't given up on him. And now this with even Rauscher, who has been an advocate for him. It's like, hey, we have to do a better job. They've put it on them as coaching staff to develop the young player who obviously they think has some talent. This is a league sometimes that doesn't like, they love accountability in some respects and they love to pin blame in others. Right?
You're not wrong.
And if a guy's played like this for 2 years and it hasn't worked, they want to separate themselves from that. They're not doing that with him.
Yeah, I mean, and I get like, were you invested in him and he's got some playing experience? So like, yeah, I get you want to see it through to make yourself look better, right? But then my argument is, well, what about number 85 and 33? Like, are they getting the same treatment?
Well, it appears they're getting playing time. What's that?
So what?
We're not doing that today.
We're not doing what today? I didn't say their name. I said a couple numbers. We're all good. I can say numbers.
Yeah. They're obviously playing those guys.
True. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
What's striking about the
Luke Farrell's playing more than 85.
What strikes me about the Fortner stuff is it's almost like you've got a quarterback that they're trying to prop up from a mental standpoint. Say, we love you.
Yeah.
We believe in you.
Yeah.
Like, they've really tried hard around the Fortner stuff. Now, I understand they're not going to come out and just lambaste somebody. I get it. But listen, Doug Peterson, if you go back to when like the whole play calling conversation started at the combine, he defended Fortner in that same conversation. Yeah. He also hammered Cam Robinson for not being available in that same, like, he did all that.
Yeah.
And Cam Robinson probably has a little bit more like resume and equity built up.
Do you think, like, was Fortner, like, did he have like an undisclosed injury or something? Like, I'm just trying
I haven't heard that.
Okay, but I'm just trying to think, like, and once again, it's not uncommon to support your players. Like, if you're a player, you want to have a coach like that. Like, I applaud Doug Peterson and even Rauscher for having your players back. That's what it's all about. But then, like, I look at the comments, it's like, wow, you guys are going like above and beyond for this guy.
Feels like it.
Like, I'm missing something almost.
Maybe they just feel like he was a little unfairly treated last year, where everybody went after him. It was more than that. It was the 4 guys that played guard. It was Sheriff not playing maybe as good. He playing with a rookie right tackle still. Like, maybe there's more to it that it's like, listen, this, in many respects, like I said about Bulky coming out a couple years back. Like, I mean, this guy got like so much vitriol. And same with Fortner. Was it all his fault? Maybe there's a little bit of that. I don't know. It's an interesting psychology of what's going on with Fortner. And he is 26. Like somebody just said, he's 26. He is not Anton Harrison, or he's 22.
No, for sure.
Right?
And keep in mind, like, we can sit here and say that it's not all Luke Fortner's fault, but then the offseason moves show that maybe it was all Luke Fortner's fault because you kept your entire offensive line the same except for the center position. So it's hard to justify in saying how, okay, well, it wasn't all. Well, you're showing us it may have been all Luke because he's the only guy that got replaced.
Yeah, and that was one of those moves too where thinking about all the sound from the coaching staff, it's almost like maybe they didn't want to go get somebody else, but they knew from the outside noise they had to. And I do think that enters the equation sometimes. Like you have to you had to do something. But is that why they did something with a 31-year-old, $5 million a year guy instead of like a $12 million a year guy? Because they haven't lost hope. They just said, okay, go take a seat. A little bit of Mac Jones like, right? Okay, go take a seat, take a breath, and then we still believe in you down the road. I don't know. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the journey, the career, all of this plays out for Fortner. Or do they know this? We better keep this guy as positive and headspace clear and confident as a football, because confidence is everything. We got to keep, because Morse is a guy that's been injured in the past. We might need him. And the only other guy that they have really that will play there is Shatley, and I'm not sure he's even going to make it on the 53.
Yeah.
So, and we might find out in the next day or two that Shatley's done and probably off to retirement. So that could happen. So anyway, it is an interesting situation. All right, we got to do this. Got to take a break. We're not done just yet, though. We had a little Brian Thomas conversation. We've got a bunch of reaction from the locker room on Friday night. Doug Peterson just talked moments ago. Jags are on the practice field. Jags will have somewhat of a short week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. And then, of course, they get into a real game week next week before the Miami Dolphins. Action Sports Jax Primetime, we've got that for you every Saturday and Sunday, 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47. Our coverage really starts to ramp up now as we head into this Labor Day weekend, into football season. Full go next week. It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Building off a summer of terrific action at Southern Oaks Stadium, the Jacksonville Armada are looking forward to the future and the return of pro soccer in Northeast Florida. Season ticket reservations for MLS Next Pro are underway, and for just $100, you can lock in some great benefits when it comes to supporting the boys in blue. Those who make a reservation will have first selection options in the new Armada Stadium out east, near Jacksonville's downtown sporting complex, as well as access to supporter VIP events like stadium tours, open training sessions, and future meet and greets with players and coaches. You can make your season ticket reservations at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket. And while you're there, read the very latest on the Armada men's and women's teams in action this summer. Show your commitment to the fleet with an MLS Next Pro season ticket reservation at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jax team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens.
The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
When I say it means something to me, gentlemen, it means something to me.
High school football is back and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to the Friday Night Zone Blitz.
It is bigger than a game.
Watch the biggest games each week live as the action unfolds with instant reaction and analysis from our Hall of Famer, Kevin Sullivan. It starts with live look-ins at the top matchups, including our Jaguars Prep Whataburger Game of the Week, and that is just the beginning of 4 straight hours of coverage. From 8 to 10:30, the Friday Night Zone Blitz is streaming on our Action News Jax app and online. At 10:30, the Friday Night Blitz you know and love. A half hour of highlights from around the area. 11 o'clock, we shine the spotlight on the bands that pump up the crowd. 11:15, it's time to blitz through the highlights online and on air. Then 11:35, back to the stream to break down the night's results with a reaction from local coaches. 4 straight hours of high school football on the Friday Night Zone Blitz. Only on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I was just telling you guys this. I remember when, we were having fun the other day with knowing that a lot of the Jacksonville media wasn't going to go to Atlanta. And I was thinking of it. A lot of people didn't go to Tampa either last year in
Christmas Eve
because it was Christmas Eve. But they were right in the middle of a playoff race.
You were there, right, Brent?
Of course we were there. But see, what we'll get here is we'll say, oh, well, you guys are the official station, so you go like with the teams. Like, we'd be going anyway. Like, we were 3 years, like a few years back, we weren't the official station. We went on every road trip.
Tell them, Brent.
Now, the business has changed a little bit. Industry has changed some. Okay. And this is where I bring this up more than anything else. Like, it's not about the people covering the team. People covering the team want to go. But it's more like, we got to be careful in our industry to not be covering the NFL, which actually feeds our industry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I was and these are drivable trips. Now, Atlanta's not right down the road, but it's a drivable trip.
Because it's 5 hours. It's part of the job. It's part of the gig.
Like,
expensive gas.
Tampa was a drivable trip, like down and back, like that day, no problem.
Yeah.
Right? So it just surprises me on those that now, again, if you're going to go fly to Vegas or something like that, and I always say this, like the London trip is really hard to cover. London is so expensive.
Yeah, I believe that.
Now, it's really difficult. But I'm just a little surprised that more people, I mean, it was a Friday night, so you get a little high school football stuff. That takes away some resources too. But, man, I mean, the way the Jags were playing the starters, this wasn't just a throwaway game. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you never know what kind of storylines are going to come out of there. Thankfully, there weren't any major storylines.
Yeah, thankfully.
Because there usually would be negative,
nobody
right?
got hurt or anything. Yeah, for sure.
But it was a little surprising. So, Jags back on the field today. And we're there. Christian Kirk back out on practice, which is good. Again, I think the Jags are going to get all these guys back for this game, other than Dewey. And we got a chance to catch up with Brian Thomas Jr., a couple guys in the locker room, just kind of breaking the preseason now that part is done and onto the regular season. I'm always fascinated with the young guys, especially because it's about to ramp up. Like Brian Thomas Jr.'s already got like a quick lesson of the NFL.
Yeah.
He's about to get another one. coming up in a couple of weeks with the intensity of the regular season. Oh, by the way, your NFL debut, because these games really didn't count, your NFL debut against Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
Here's a conversation with Brian Thomas Jr. Or not.
All right. That's good stuff.
That was really good.
Wow.
Brent, were you really there? Be honest. Come on. Were you actually really there? I mean, I saw you on the sideline, but AI is doing hell with things these days.
That would be something.
You know what I'm
saying? Should I kill some more time, or you got it ready?
No, yeah, you should definitely kill some.
All right, animal videos are coming right up. Brent,
we have other interviews if you want me to tease that one instead. So,
right now, I'm getting the circle of death.
Oh,
yeah,
that's not good.
No.
What?
Well, Brent, can you give us some? Were they good interviews? What happened tonight?
They were just okay.
Okay.
Just okay.
Yeah,
we're still streaming.
Now,
so
now, almost it's like you going there didn't even matter, did it?
Well, we got a couple more days to use.
Hamby, take us behind the scenes. What is the circle of death, if you don't mind me asking?
You know when the app won't close,
okay,
but you can't do anything.
Oh, so it's like waiting.
Responding.
It's like.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Close. Cancel. Okay. All right, we're good.
You think we're good?
I'm
try this
gonna
again?
try maybe. Yeah, I'll try it again. I'm kind of a sucker for it.
Let's do it.
A sucker for messing up.
Glutton for punishment.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Oh, can't access core media, so that's out.
Brent, I'm just saying this is the Pat McAfee show, and this is happening.
How many Guinnesses has Hamby had?
Well, that too. Do you think Pat would stand for this though, Brent? You think if Pat wants to go to Equip, we gotta wait 10 minutes?
Circle of death again.
Circle of death. Okay.
Sounds good. What's happening? Are we about to crash out on the system?
I don't think so. We're looking fine.
Okay, that's good.
Is it getting nope? Look at it's still clear cut 4K coming at you, everybody.
Good.
Okay.
Well, we got other things. You wanted to talk about the Little League World Series?
Yeah. Oh well, we can talk about that.
Brent, you got some comments in here. Ingram was my favorite interview by Brent.
Ingram's great, man. Appreciate that, by the way.
Let me ask you this real quick before you get Ingram. The whole before practice, is this new or has he always done this? Because I feel like it's getting highlighted a lot this year.
I think it's he's always done it.
Okay, gotcha.
So like when he's at, I think in camp you notice it because everybody's out there right at the beginning of practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way they've set up their clock, and by the way, there are more people going to practice right for these 3 weeks than there are the rest of the year.
Yeah,
including us sometimes. And but the way they set it up, they have Doug or Ryan Nielsen or somebody, a coach, talk before practice. So therefore, the media is there even before the guys are out on the field. So you always see Ingram's like the first guy out on the field.
Yeah.
And he's just like addicted to his routine, which you get that. I mean, as the level of sports that you've played. And it's very Puzz-like. But I think it's starting to get attention. But I think it gets attention because he's performed.
Yeah.
Like, so is this the secret to it, right? Is there a method to his madness? Is this why he's performing? And he continues to perform. I think he's I think he's fascinating going into this year because I think it's easy to say, and what I've kind of said, I might even have said it to him in the interview, I think we take him for granted. He's now set the tight end mark 2 years in a row. He's always right there, but like, where's the ceiling for a guy like that? Has he hit the ceiling? And I don't think he has. Like, I think there's evolution to his game. I think Trevor has indicated it a couple of times, like, he's going to do more. And when I see more, I think it's down the field. Mm-hmm. Don't you? Like, if that's now the fullback stuff is one thing. We can have fun with that. And that's a part of it. Because now you put him in the backfield. What if you put him in motion out of the backfield? Mm-hmm. What if he is blocking, for ETN? Or what if you run him out on a route from out of the backfield? Like, how are you defending that? You already can't defend him from his normal spot very well. He's so precise with his routes. He practices it on air all the time.
And he's got some size, too.
The touchdown route that he ran, the second one, that was like such an easy pass play for those guys because I'm telling you, I've seen him practice that route 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just boom, boom, boom. Like, he knows every step of that route, every inch of that route. And I think Trevor to this point does too.
Yeah.
But what we haven't seen a lot of from Evan Ingram is catching the ball past 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 yards downfield. Isn't that what you think we're going to see as his game get into a bit?
That and also just the red zone. I mean, I think, and we saw it obviously with 2 touchdowns
that's a good
in
point.
Atlanta. Like, I think, and I've said this many times already, like, I think don't be surprised if the receptions go down. Like, if he's still catching, what did he catch last year?
114. You want his receptions
Something's wrong.
to go down.
Like, if you catch 114 receptions, sorry, Evan, I know you're out there like 2 hours before practice, but if you have that same replicant of last season, I'm hitting the panic button because we don't need that from you. But even though the receptions are going to go down, I think that the touchdowns are drastically going to go up because he's going to be the red zone target. He's the red zone threat.
So that's an interesting. Was it last year or the year prior where he took forever to get in the end zone?
It was last year.
It was last year?
Yeah, he didn't barely score.
Yeah, but it was late in the season. It's like, I finally got his touchdown, right? Like, and now you're seeing, like, let's go to the Tampa Bay work, right? You saw a bunch of touchdowns, the 7-on-7 stuff. There was
literally that same route.
There's a lot of red zone work. It was the same route. You're right in that traffic spot. It's very seldom where you, as like covering the team, I think, see a play mirror imaged from practice to game, and that was it. The way they defended it, how close. If you took that, in fact, maybe this is something we'll do.
Yep.
We might go back and find that play in 7-on-7, and then this, and it looked like, boom.
Gosh, I could find it right now, but I can't use video.
But
exactly what it is.
That's what it did look like, so which was pretty impressive. But is this going to be a concerted effort? It's like I always looked at him as a red zone threat. Is this a concerted effort to get him more involved in the red zone?
I mean, I think it is a concerted effort because when you have a tight end who is that big number one, has the ability to catch the football and can be a mismatch nightmare, like especially in the red zone, you take full advantage of that, right? And now you had Brian Thomas Jr. too, who is a pretty big dude in himself. Like, I think that Evan Ingram will be that red zone target, that red zone weapon that maybe this team has been lacking the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think the 2 areas for me, for Ingram, that you're going to see vast improvement is probably yards per catch and tight ends. Now, look at his numbers over his career. And he's actually been a guy that was in New York, 11.3 yards per reception, 12.8, 10.6, 10.4, and then 8.9. So for most of it, he was double digits yards per catch. He had 10.5 with the Jags in his first year when he caught 73 balls. Last year was a little bit different. But I think we all know last year was a little bit different in the product of a lot of injuries, and they had to get him the ball. He was, at a time or two, he was their only reliable receiver, the one that Trevor trusted the most. But touchdowns, I think, is where he's going to really elevate. 6.33, 1.344. 6 his rookie year was his best. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy catches 7, 8 plus this year.
Oh, I think you're going to see it and make this your fantasy lock of the year, if you will. I think Evan Ingram's going to have a career season in terms of touchdowns.
Just so I want to reference, and just for reference, when he was getting 12.8 in New York and 10.6 and 11, like that's pretty good for a tight end. Here's what Kelsey has average yards per catch. 10.6, 12.2, 12.2. He had 13.5 back in 2020, 12.7, 13, 12.5, 13, 12, 12.9. So that's a notch above, but I think the way we see it, you'd almost think it would be like 4 yards more.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, so can he average around 10.5 to 11.5? I think would showcase that he's getting downfield more.
Can you do me a favor? Can you see what Sam Laporta's numbers are real quick? Because I feel like he kind of changed that entire offense around when he started humming.
2 years, 10.3.
10.3. Okay.
It's just 1 year, right? Yeah, it's just
just rookie year. Yeah.
So
okay,
10.3, but
okay.
the 10 touchdowns, right?
Oh, yeah.
The
But
10
I was
touchdowns
wondering,
are the big.
Okay.
86 catches. Like, people would sign up for that year right now. 86, 889, 10. And I'm not even saying you'll get to 10, but 85 catches, 900 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, that's where this should settle into for Ingram and be good.
Correct.
Almost like punch it in.
Yep. Agreed.
Like, that's what you feel like you can do with him. I think you can almost feel like you can do that with Kirk. 80 catches, about 1,000 yards. Can you get 7 or 8 touchdowns somewhere in there? Touchdowns are a weird thing to predict because some years you're going to have 12 and then others you might have 4. It's just an odd thing. Take even Mike Evans. Mike Evans has had years where he's had 5 and then last year had 13. So it is an odd stat sometimes. But I think the yardage and the receptions and staying healthy kind of all fit in a window for those 2 guys. You almost sign up for it. And I would say this about ETN. If he's healthy, what's he at? 15, 16, 1,700 total yards. Not just running, total yards. So now where do the other guys fit in?
Right.
Gabe Davis in
yeah.
his career has been like 45, right? 48, right around there. Is he going to elevate that or stay about the same? I would say, hey, with those guys doing their thing, if he stays about the same and you're getting that 16 yards per catch, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, he's been like a 7-8 touchdown guy. Even out of it, 1 every 5 catches is like a touchdown for him in his career, 1 every 6. And then you added in Brian Thomas Jr., and that one's the unknown, of course. So you can't even trend it in a certain way. Let's break away from football for a moment or two. This means we can't run a commercial break if your stuff's down.
I can.
Oh, you can. All right, well, let's talk about this, and then we might sneak a commercial in before we put a ball in the show. Little League World Series.
Yes.
There's 2 things that I didn't watch a ton of this, but 3 things. It's wild that Florida won because Florida doesn't have a lot of teams that participate in this style of ball. They don't even I think it was the 9th time they've been, but they don't try to play this style of ball. I think the last team out of Jacksonville that played like this Little League style, and what I mean by that is like travel ball, even at 8 years old, you start leading off bases. In Little League baseball, you don't do that even at 12. But Arlington used to play. That was the last one I heard that was playing that style and could go to Little League stuff. But so Lake Mary ends up winning it, which is kind of cool. It was a cool story, all that stuff.
They had some big boys in that team, by the way.
Big. So this is what I always wonder. My kids just obviously got out of high school playing. We've played in that world. You play in that world, Hamby. Does a travel ball team in Jacksonville beat the Lake Mary team?
Without a doubt.
So you're convinced of it?
Oh, yeah. It's not. Yeah.
I used to think hands down to that question, and then I thought the shortstop looked really good.
I mean, they have a couple guys, but...
Well, so I don't know, and I don't know depth of pitching. If you get a flame-throwing kid at 12 years old, like at that age, he's going to shut people down.
Sure.
Right? That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're playing. He's going to shut people down because it's coming in at like 98 miles an hour. Is the equivalent.
At that distance, if you happen to discover a barrel, it's going out.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
I will say this, though. This is what caught my attention. I thought I had to look up if they had moved the fences back. If you go back a few years ago, and maybe even more than I thought, because I'll tell you what I found. It used to feel like they would almost bunt the ball out of the park.
Yeah.
Well, if you watched that game at all yesterday, those guys weren't even playing near the warning track. Yeah. They were playing shallow. So I was like, man, they must have really moved the fences back. Well, I looked it up. They moved the fences back in 2006, 20 feet. I would have thought they had moved it back another 20 feet in the last couple years.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there was like nothing that was leaving the park. I didn't see anything get deep.
But everything is in the gaps. And then, hey, we can't hit a cutoff man in the championship.
Yeah,
we
didn't
can't
cover second base.
We can't try to throw a guy out the tying run at the plate or in the American Championship between Texas.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not big at criticizing the style of play. It's hard to figure out what it is. Like I thought they could have sent the kid yesterday from third base and try to put pressure on the team, and they waited around instead. I will say this: Lake Mary was better. They had like 20 guys on base all game. They just never could get them in. They were the better team. And then the sportsmanship, I feel like is so forced now because they all know that they're on camera.
Yeah,
those coaches 3 weeks ago, or the last time they played a local tournament, were swearing up and down, being totally nasty to the opposing parents, and then,
world
Johnny,
relations.
it's okay.
World relations.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to hate on that.
No.
I'm all for it, man. I would rather see that than if it's forced or not. Don't care.
Yeah, Austin, you know what I say about it's like, hey, somebody would be like, hey, you made some rich dude made a $100,000 donation to whatever, probably to help him save his tax. It's like, yeah, but he still made a $100,000 donation.
Dude,
it's
like
don't compare that.
No, for sure.
It's
like
so.
For instance, Mr. Beast. My son's into Mr. Beast. This guy's like a billionaire, and he's a YouTube influencer, and he goes out and he has games and everything.
Oh yeah,
and people want to give him crap because it's like you're just doing this for clout. Sure, he is. Yes, he's doing it for clout because he gets millions and millions of views. He gets paid for that. But guess what? He's also giving $1 million away to people that need it. So. don't hate you.
Yeah,
you know,
it's hard to hate
I'm
on
cool
that.
with that, but this
well,
is.
then listen. If the price is clout, Hamby, then so be it. Like if you're making a difference, you're making a difference.
Well, not only that, we had an example of a guy drunk on TV on Friday afternoon. Then we got sportsmanship. Like
I wish they would just mic up.
I'll take the sportsmanship. I mean, it's not bad.
But you just gotta be transparent. If you give me the 12-year-old third baseman mic'd up when the coach comes over and then the coach walks away, I can't believe it. I'm seeing a whole different side of my coach. I've never seen anything like this before. Just last week he was saying this, and that. Then I will like it.
Real quick before we go to break, because I watched a little bit of the Little League World Series. My son was watching a lot of it. My son's getting into baseball all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Atta boy.
Relax. It's a big commitment. We have to focus on football. But no, whatever he wants to play, we can play. But I noticed this. I've watched every once in a while, every year. I've noticed this year because I watched the New York team a little bit. From the Bronx, wherever they're from, and then I watched this like married team. Kids, I feel like are getting a lot more emotional, like showing like tear. Like there was a pitcher from New York who walked the first 3 bases, and the kid was in tears.
Yeah,
like in the first inning when this happened, and I'm just like, dude, you got plenty. Like, what are we doing here? And that happened a couple times. I felt like on a lot of teams that I was watching, where kids like they make a bad play or like they give up a run. You see tears.
Yeah, I think. Well, I
can't do it, Hamby. I don't know how you do it.
We are kind of like.
Trust me, I don't put up with that.
Take a lap.
By the way, at 11 and 12 years old, kids are still crying. Like whether you're on national TV or not, there's a lot of pressure on these guys now.
I know, but
right? I mean, that's the untold part of this. Everything is in front of a camera.
You're on ESPN,
right?
It's still a big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a lot on a kid. Hey, we almost hitting 55 here, Hamby, because I might just end on a break.
Yeah, we got 10 seconds.
Okay, well, let's do it. We'll say goodbye.
All right.
And then on a break, that's going to do it.
5, 4, 3.
Have a good Monday, everybody.